What is?
Can you?
Who worked here?
It was. What do you mean? We know who worked here.
I can't. Thank you. Can't work in these conditions.
Can you mute your computer?
Tell people not to touch things.
Sit it down.
Oh, hey, everybody. The crossover is powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com.
There we go.
Jake did the board beforehand. It was his first time doing Gary and Matt, and he did.
He did great.
He did a phenomenal job, Jake. He was awesome. By the way, his had good songs today. Like, really impressed with Jake's selection.
Did let the producer curate the bump?
Did he pick them?
Yeah, he picks all the songs that we come in and out of Bricks.
Really? Like
Yeah.
off of a list of options, or
Yeah.
just like random songs?
No. There's a list of options of
Okay,
songs,
figured.
and we've worked with a couple producers. Some of them have okay taste. Jimmy has really good taste. Jake had very good taste today.
Excellent.
It was very impressive.
So you're talking smack on Joey?
No, I'm not talking
Peter?
smack on anybody.
Who do you hate?
You guys
I
hear
don't.
that?
I don't hate
He
any.
hates your music.
No, I love everybody who works here.
Nice. What a great take.
Thank you.
What a great take.
I do like the people I work with.
You're gonna love them even more after the College World
You
Series.
see, that's everybody's fear mongering me about
They
how
are.
long of a
They are.
week it is. I'm excited. For
I'm
it.
Mr. Positivity. They tried to do the same thing to me 4 years ago when I got here. They were like, because I was like really excited. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Sure.
It's an event I grew up with. I'm so excited to
No.
be involved
You're
in the College World Series. And they're like, yeah, well, talk to me again in a couple weeks. And I'm like, you know what? I actually like it. And I've
Yeah.
liked it for the 3 times since. This is awesome.
You were the only person who said that to me. Okay. And I know I'm going to be tired. I know that it's going to be because we have to host the morning show. Then I got to be at the baseball village. I don't do well in sun either. Sun and me, we don't
Handshake me.
we don't do well. Okay. The sun and I, not simpatico.
Same.
So here's the thing about
Get a bucket hat.
I'm gonna purchase glasses.
Mhm.
I'm
You
going
might
to.
be given glasses.
Yeah, you might get
Yeah.
I'm
ask
going.
the right people.
I need to get glasses, and then I'm a hat guy though. I wear a hat, so I'll be fine.
Wear a
in that
bucket hat.
regard.
Everybody's doing it.
There was a Modelo Time bucket hat that was available at Target.
Yeah, everybody's wearing the bucket hats.
I don't think I'd look good in a bucket hat. I don't think I'm a bucket. Look, my hair's grown out to the point where the lettuce is coming out very nicely in the regular hat.
Okay.
it's really it's really functionally important that I have a bucket hat.
But you look good in a bucket hat.
No, but I'm usually like a style guy in that situation. I do not care.
You're a style guy.
Yeah.
I can't tell.
You always comment on my clothes and how nice my
You have
clothes
very
are.
nice clothes.
Thank you.
You do.
You
You have much nicer clothes than I do.
So I think about that maybe than
most people.
maybe more than some people in our industry.
Sure.
But
You buy
in-
good brands though.
In that specific case, in the College World Series, it is not about how good I look. It is for straight up my own protection.
So I bought a Gatorade bottle that you would buy for sporting events for the College World Series because I know that I'm just going to need an insane amount of water.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
that it's going to
Good
be
thing we
a necessity.
We'll have water.
Yeah, we will provide
We
water.
have a refrigerator.
But I'll do the classic, I'll spray on my face,
No, you don't.
and then
You don't.
and
need to
then
do that.
and then I'll spray it in my mouth, and I'll swish it around, and I'll spit it out, and then I'll.
you have access.
The mattress factory.
Yes.
And we were walking in, we were going to the bathroom. And while we were going to the bathroom, there was a big huddle around a line. It was just a lot of commotion was happening right
Sure.
in front of us. And we eventually find our way to the bathroom, and I'm sitting next to a guy. or I'm standing next to a guy, doing my thing.
Yep.
And he looks at me and goes, "What's going on out there?" I go, "I have no clue. But there's just a lot of people just huddled up." And he goes, "It better be someone really, really famous or something big going on if that's the case." And we walk out of the bathroom and Peyton Manning was standing right there.
There you go. That explains it.
I know. He's a tall human.
When was this?
This was not last year, but the year before. So 2020.
Oh, at the College World Series.
College World Series.
Oh, okay.
College World Series,
Gotcha.
2023. Because I went to the College World Series in 2021, 2022, and 2023.
Very good.
Everyone who tried to fearmonger you,
Yeah.
you have to remember. I'm going to
Careful,
guess
Josh.
all of them, except for maybe one, do not care for sports.
Sure.
So it is a grind that they don't see the point of. Whereas you are like, oh my gosh,
I get
I'm
free
s-
food and things,
Yeah.
and I get to watch
This
baseball.
should give you energy.
I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be tired because it's going to be long hour days. Okay. But you know what? That's life. All right.
Mhm.
All right. That's life.
Yep.
I'm always tired.
we
Yep.
sleep in
Okay.
July.
This is big time.
I've now graduated. I've never been able to do energy drinks. I've now graduated into energy drinks.
Oh.
Some people call me crazy last night. So
Get with it.
this is a different subject, but
Sure.
it's related to what you just said about energy drinks. So I had slow pitch softball last night. We had enough people. Sorry, I didn't invite you.
I'm starting to believe that this is just a fugazi. You're just trying to be nice.
We had enough people. I didn't hit you up because we didn't need you. And
I'm just waiting.
so we put it 6:30. First game was at 6:30, and I showed up at 6:15 or whatever, and I had a coffee. I just bought a coffee, and all the people on my team looked at me like I was a psychopath.
Okay.
You go to the new Starbucks?
What do you got? Yes, I did, Josh.
I know you.
It took a weird amount of time for
Oh,
me
really?
being the only person there, and it being 6 o'clock.
Well,
Still-
it's a new program. They're
Yeah.
just trying to get their bearings.
So am I crazy?
A little.
What?
But, like, here's- but-
and these are
but
people who like
you
they
have-
don't mind drinking beers and
very
like,
European of you.
So,
I love a midday after evening coffee.
So
That's fantastic.
I was the type of kid that if I had like a Coca-Cola too late in the day, the caffeine would keep me up. Okay, because I had a lot of energy.
I had no problem. It gave me a jolt
Yeah,
for the period of time that I needed it, and then I fell sound asleep.
but so I was the type of kid where I couldn't have a lot of caffeine until now. I've grown up. I need the energy. I need the
Mhm.
caffeine to function. But I grew up in a household where at 9 o'clock at night after dinner, people were having coffee because it's a very,
Same.
very Cuban thing to have the cafecito, to have the espresso, or just to have a regular cup of coffee.
My grandma on my dad's side, yes, 100%
Would
like
have that.
Italian, like
So
yes.
to me, like, I think if people who didn't grow up in that, or someone like, or they're similar to me where they can't have caffeine too late in the day or they can't go to sleep, you're a psycho. But for me, I think that's just kind of whatever floats your boat.
It's also an excuse to like in that situation. It's an excuse to like stay at the dinner table and keep talking.
Oh, absolutely.
In this case, that's not.
But coffee
happening,
tastes
but-
good is the problem.
Yeah, it's good.
Like that's my own.
Good.
I wish I could have coffee all the time, but I really could only have.
I got to
it.
give a shout out to Michael Bruns. He told me years and years ago. He said because he tried to get me into coffee.
Known coffee fiend.
really?
I
Michael Bruns.
was out on coffee, and he tried to get me into it. And so he would like bring me coffees and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, and he was like, "Try this, try this.
Yeah,
Let's see if you like it." And I was just like, "Bruns, I just don't see myself doing this every day.
Wow.
Like this isn't bad. I'm fine with this. I like what happens afterwards, but like every day, I just can't see it."
I
Sure.
can get you free coffee at the Village. There's a
There you go.
booth.
Couple years later, look at me. I mean, I'm like this is incredible,
Here's-
and I needed it at all moments of the day.
I do
now.
want to apologize. I bought a Keurig. We haven't used the Keurig in 2 months.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just because I have now graduated into I never could do energy drinks. If I did energy drinks, my heart would be racing. I
Mhm.
couldn't go to bed. My head would be pounding. I'm now like I have an energy drink every day.
You got to get over that. What about the coffees with high caffeine content?
Well, I love that.
Okay.
That's what I grew up drinking. So
He brought the gasoline that's sitting right behind us
the
right
Cafe
now.
Bustelo.
Yeah,
so
that
is-
stuff is pure jet fuel.
okay.
That's what I grew up on.
Yeah.
So I actually started drinking coffee when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
Because
That's okay. That's insane.
that's what we had.
And
You
so
would
you're saying that
have-
the energy drinks like they do more for you?
they just keep me up now because
Okay.
it's as opposed to having 3 cups of coffee, which is where I am at right now. I can have one Monster Zero Ultra and I will be fine, and it'll carry me into. Also, too, I crash with coffee now. Like it's either I crash and I take a nasty nap, or I have to have another cup of coffee.
It's. I mean, that stuff. I bought some of that stuff to make for myself at home.
Yeah,
Not in the Keurig pods, but in the like in the actual form. I mean,
it's incredible. It's incredible.
It'll smoke you. I don't need.
You got to milk it down a little bit.
I don't need that.
So the thing about Cafe Bustelo is that it is closer to kind of like an espresso type deal than it is like having your latte.
Look at this. Andrew says, first of all, Jordan says White Monster gives me life, which is what you have right there.
This is great.
I see a lot of kids with that White Monster.
I don't know what it. I
like college kids.
I
like
tried
traveling with Creighton baseball for the last 2 weeks. They're all drinking White Monsters.
Well, first off, it's the whole zero sugar thing. Like you feel like you're healthy or whatever, but it actually tastes incredible. It's only 10 calories, and
so it's less powerful.
It's well. I don't know in terms of power. I don't know how much oomph this has given me, but it's zero sugar with 10 calories and tastes great.
Dude, I remember drinking Monsters, getting lined up for video game releases in like 2008, and it was the black one with the green.
I don't see the black one anymore.
The black one with the
green.
Don't
see anybody drinking regular Monster anymore. I've seen the orange Monster a lot.
Interesting. And then Andrew says, big day for me was graduating from no creamer to drinking just straight black Folgers, like God intended. That's what I'm talking about.
That Chris Farley skit in SNL has to be one of the greatest of all time.
That's what I'm talking about.
Where they replaced Josh. That's a good face, Josh.
Thank you.
That was it. That's
terrible radio, but
no, it's awesome.
Great face.
Follow up from Stibbs on Matt's issue. Did we get Matt directions to the Chuck? Do you know how to get there?
So funny enough, I was listening to the radio live when it happened.
No.
And I was it's funny. It was a funny joke. It wasn't personal or anything like that. Like I know first off.
And then you sent me a picture of yourself, your baby self in the Bartman seat.
I know. I thought I was listening to the radio.
It was a good tweet.
It's a great picture. That's actually on my Instagram. I'm like the new trend.
I have it scrolled on there
for the new trend. I forget you follow me.
Yeah.
The new trend for kids my age is that you put like a baby photo as like the last photo.
Hey, by the way, who's this guy?
That's my dad.
He kind of looks like Pat McAfee.
Whoa.
He looks like old Pat McAfee.
Really?
Yeah, look at him. That's your dad.
My dad is now like 60 pounds lighter.
Okay.
Since that picture.
All right.
He loves Pat McAfee. So that actually is like a compliment.
In this specific picture. Okay, anyway, keep going. Did you get directions to the Chuck?
I know how to get to the Chuck. Okay. I know how to drive to the Chuck. It was just
Do you know where to go?
Yeah. Okay. So that was my question.
Did you find it out?
They told me they'd give me a map, and they haven't given me a map.
I mean, we could do this live on the air right now if you want us to help.
I'm northeast corner of the diamond.
I know where I'm going. I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah.
I have no fear.
Okay.
I have zero fear of how to get there.
All right.
Like I actually do know because I've been
don't be afraid to ask questions.
No,
everybody needs help sometimes.
That's why I asked the question, and then I asked the question. I got clowned on the crossover for asking questions. So it doesn't seem like that. It doesn't seem like it's a safe space because you're just in the Hy-Vee parking lot, and then all of a sudden everybody's laughing at you on the radio.
To ask us, we will be your guiding light in these trying times.
It's not trying times. I'm excited.
Okay, good. Fun. All right.
No, I know what lot I have to park in. I know where I have to go specifically. I'm going to anticipate though, and Josh, just fair warning, more than likely the first show I'm going to show up in like a sweaty mess because I'm sure I'm going to mess something up. I have to like sprint.
Well, you're going to be coming in hot too off the morning show.
Yeah. So I'm leaving, I think, a half hour.
Take a segment or two.
Early. And think a half hour.
Just kind of
maybe take that whole hour.
Let Josh work.
I wouldn't mind that. Wouldn't mind.
You got to get a coffee. You got to do more radio afterwards.
Oh, it's going to be 8 hours of radio every day.
Love radio.
I'm a big fan.
All right, here's a pro tip for you.
I need pro tips. I actually do need pro tips. Like,
assuming, and Josh will confirm this on Monday when he sets the entire thing up. Assuming that the table that we sit in for our village shows is in the exact same place, sit in the seat on the right.
So
when you're facing out, when you're sitting in the chair,
okay.
Sit in the seat on the right.
Is the shadow better over there?
You'll thank me later.
Okay. Here's the problem, and I appreciate that. Pretty sure Josh Peterson's going to have first pick.
It's whoever gets there first, buddy.
I don't think there is no
yeah,
way.
you're probably not going to get there.
There is no way in heck I'm going to get there first.
Well, I mean, Josh is kind of he's got it down to a science now. He could probably.
He's got everything down to a science.
That's right. He's got a lot of planning.
I look, my Google Drive is full of documents. I feel like I'd have a panic attack if I opened up Josh Peterson's drive, because I feel like there would be a lot of spreadsheets and a lot of math.
Jordan writes in.
Hi, Jordan.
He says, no. Rookie sits in the sun. I'm just saying, if you get there first, then, maybe he doesn't say anything about
sunscreen. Gonna need it, right?
Probably not for sitting in the chair. But,
but for walking around.
For being outside, yeah. It's going to be hot.
I'm going
pro tips and tricks. Any tips and tricks? We could make a TikTok.
Ooh.
You should post it on social media.
Stop it.
Okay.
Stop it.
1620 the zone personalities.
Stop it.
Tips and tricks to the College World Series.
Don't give them any ideas.
I'll go get the tiny mic.
Stop.
We have plenty.
You can ask players if they know what a runza is.
That's a different company.
You'll win awards for doing it.
Okay, all right.
What?
All right.
Josh.
What?
Josh.
Let's see. John
It happened.
emails in on the Equal Bank inbox. People laugh at Matt because he's 15 years old and out on his own making mistakes for the first time. Yeah, kind of.
I mean, yeah.
But we don't want to see you make those mistakes if they're avoidable.
I disagree. I think some people.
Well, maybe you can make content out of that.
That's what we've been doing for the last 6 months.
Yeah, it's true. But this
Nobody
time
gave me. I would just tell you right now.
Forum.
I'll tell you this right now, and I'm not complaining. It's been absolutely incredible, but sometimes people act as if like I got like a guideline or like a rule book for things.
Not a word.
Nothing. Right. So there have been things that I might have said or might have done where they haven't. It hasn't been great, and I've learned from them, and I pride myself on not making them again.
It's repetition, baby.
A lot of shows will do
I didn't get a rule
before
book,
the
you know what I'm
debut
saying?
show, and we didn't do that here.
So it's when you go, I'm not saying that this is the major leagues, but for the sake of the argument, let's just say that it is. This is the major leagues. You think you're a really good player. You think you're doing some really good things. Maybe you're a top prospect. Matt, you have a lot of a lot of great things were said by many people before you got here. And we already knew that we liked you coming in. But then you become a big leaguer and you're like, oh, I got to figure out how I can't call the umpire blue.
Yeah, or
I
can't say call Zach Hampel a certain word on the air.
I have to know that Georgia is going to lose to Notre Dame.
Yeah, I should have, maybe doing some history on Charlie Weiss would have been a smart thing to do.
These are lessons
maybe studying up on what Matt Verzal's job is actually would have been good.
Pizza. You got it.
Now I do. I didn't.
These are things that you can only, I shouldn't say you can only learn, but these are lessons that maybe are best learned from just getting thrown into the deep
maybe end. Asking Doug Nodgar, do you work at a bank?
That
probably wasn't, the greatest moment. And by the way, we're talking as if I'm some wily veteran. Okay. I'm going to make way more mistakes.
There are still lessons to be learned.
Oh, so many. And I feel like these next 10 days, I'm going to learn a lot of lessons.
There are still lessons to be learned.
And I'm going to learn them with Josh Hodson.
I'll tell you what, I will say this. When I had my first College World Series, baby's first College World Series.
Oh, I hate you.
When I had that,
because now people are going to say, now that you said that, they're not going to say baby's first College World Series to me.
We should probably get him like a bib or something like that. But anyway,
don't give them. You're giving people too many ideas.
But I'll say this: when we came back and then we geared up for that first football season, I did feel like, oh, okay. We're in it. Like this,
you're working.
We're
now.
In it now.
Yeah.
Because we've been in the coal mines, hacking away all summer long. I got the black lung.
Matt, I feel this is a good place to tell you, since I'm sure no one's told you yet. Best to do it live on air. There will be one day at the Omaha Baseball Village of the College World Series where you'll be talking to the newly elected mayor. I've leveraged all
have you heard about that?
I've leveraged all my political capital and booked the mayor for one of these shows.
Get Josh. He actually did that. That's a real thing. So you have an opportunity of a lifetime in front of you.
I'm gonna be useless. I don't.
Hey, he's new too.
I don't know a damn thing about politics.
You don't know. I specifically said it's not a political interview. We just want to talk about like memories of the College World Series, economic impact, things like that.
Economic impact?
What do you put on your hot dog?
What do you mean? Nothing political. Economic impact.
Wow, what do you think about
that?
I just learned what a GDP was 3 years
What's
ago.
the GDP of the College World Series, Mr. Mayor?
I have no idea what the gross domestic product is other than Jell-O shots at Rocco's.
Load this one up. What do you think about the streetcar? Ask him that.
I think you're setting me up for failure.
What do you put on your hot dog?
I think you know what? You pretend to be the mayor. Okay. And I'll be Matt.
I'll be the mayor. I don't know the mayor, by the way, at all, so I don't know what he would say.
What's his name? Ewing?
Mr. Ewing.
Pat or
John? Mayor-elect Ewing.
It's John Ewing, right? Yeah. John Ewing.
You got it.
Hey, Mr. Hey, congratulations. Thank you so much for doing this with us and being us on the show.
Thank you, baby Matt.
I'm new here, and I have to mention I love the city. It's great food and incredible atmosphere, but I'm from Chicago, and we have potholes there, but there's an exuberant amount of potholes here in this city. What do you plan on doing about that?
I'll say that none of the potholes are my responsibility. That is the outgoing mayor. So when the storms come through, and we have to put the salt down and the trucks and things like that. That's not going to happen this year. No snowstorms. No snowstorms. 2025.
That's great. No. I'm happy to hear that. Is Anne
Go
Hathaway,
baseball. Roll Jays.
Is Anne Hathaway hot?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Hilary Swank.
Absolutely. Is that a question? Whether Anne Hathaway is hot? Of course she is.
Can you imagine
what a ridiculous question?
If the mayor of Omaha came on the air, we just played a game of Smash or Pass.
I could see it.
Do we want to welcome on the mayor? We got Blake Lively or Sabrina Carpenter. Mr. Ewing.
Stibbs writes in.
Hi, Stibbs.
Would be great if the mayor just walked after Matt asked him about potholes. That'd be great. If you could get them. That'd be
just do a Jerry Seinfeld bit the entire time with Mayor Ewing? What's the deal about potholes, Mayor?
What's the deal with potholes?
So once again,
you got the mayor.
I'm not going to know my butt from my elbow during that.
That's all right.
I'm going to be useless. Is there anyone else that?
Probably. I would say get to know all of the school's football and basketball coaches and just be prepared at any given moment.
Okay, that's serious. That's a serious.
The Omaha 8, whichever 8 teams come, know who coaches their basketball and football teams.
Yep. Okay. Softball teams too? Or...
I don't think
that
was
a
weird
noise. that was like a
sorry. I was in
meowing.
mayor voice still. Then I had to.
Does he have that type of a voice?
I have no idea. I just went for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this.
Did you not vote?
No.
Okay.
No. Was I supposed to?
Also, I don't think that requires voice recognition.
Did you? Didn't you? Live
he's
here?
wearing that old school Omaha hat in his Wikipedia profile. That's pretty cool.
Very old photo of him.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear the update from Nathan in Ohio on yesterday's show?
No, I didn't.
Whoa. Jack, are you listening?
He called back?
He called back and he gave the full update. So let's start from the beginning. First off, Nathan from Ohio is a travel planner. One of his businesses is planning travel.
Wow, that helps dramatically.
So he said on the air, he goes, I do travel plans and I know the ins and outs, and Disney can be expensive, but if you do it right, it can be affordable.
Yeah, but there's no way you could do it affordably with 100 children.
So we'll get there. We're going to get there.
Okay.
Then he said they're in a VRBO.
Helpful, not staying on property.
And then they are at some point going to go onto property. Okay.
And we'll stay there.
But for the beginning, they're in a VRBO.
Okay. Probably like during the week.
Yes.
When the hotels are cheaper. Got it.
He wanted to make it very clear that his daughter,
the swan and the dolphin are cheaper during the week, I heard.
I guess his travel planning business would know better.
Yeah.
He also mentioned that his daughter is not 37 weeks pregnant. She's 36 and a half weeks pregnant.
Okay, that doesn't make any difference at all.
Big difference.
Same thing.
He is not paying for everybody's food.
like I suggested, the families are responsible for their own families.
Families are responsible for their own families and their own food.
See, this is cutting off the price big time.
And then he actually told us how much he thought it was going to cost for him.
Well, can I guess?
Go ahead and guess. He goes, it is drastically under 42,500.
So knowing what we now know,
yes, that he is an experienced travel planner.
Yeah,
that he knows what he's doing.
The families are paying.
Families are paying for the food. They are splitting a VRBO and being on property. At least that's what I think.
And how long again?
14 days total.
Holy smokes! Still, it's
still a long trip.
15 grand.
18,000. So around 18.
Look at that.
I'd
call that affordable.
Nathan from Ohio is my hero.
Nice job, Nathan.
He planned.
Where's he from?
From Ohio.
Where in Ohio?
I have no clue.
Prasco Park?
I have no idea.
Maybe he eats for free on a regular basis.
Yeah. Maybe that's why he's able to afford an $18,000 Disney trip.
We
just find out that family just lives at Prasco Park.
If I lived at Prasco Park all the time, then I would have a lot of money to go to Disney World.
You would have a lot of propane tanks and space heaters.
100%. And T-shirts. And
but they also, too, he mentioned that he and his wife had been to Disney 16 times.
Whoa.
So they're kind of Disney veterans.
Whoa.
And
so they know what to do.
I think they probably have like annual passes as well. And like maybe, I don't know, does Disney do points like American Airlines?
Yes, I'm sure.
I just applied for a credit card with an airline to go and do miles.
Let's go.
Southwest, baby.
The Southwest Rapid Rewards.
I got the Southwest Rapid because here's why. I'm applying for the Masters tickets. And I want the tickets.
Did that come out?
Yeah. June 20th is the deadline. And so where they send your tickets to potentially if you win will be the same as where they bill your card. And I don't have a card that's billed to my current place of residence. So that's why I just applied for a credit card, get the credit card.
Oh, yeah. I would advise you at this point in your life, get as many credit cards as humanly possible.
So that's my thing too. I've had not my immediate family, but family around me that has had crippling credit card trauma.
All right. Sorry.
So I have kind of avoided credit cards out of that fear of like getting into that hole. And I don't want to be the guy that has to call Dave Ramsey and he has to tell me that I have to live homeless for 2 years.
To you.
Guy's a hack.
Jeez. Poll question.
We did that a couple weeks ago.
We can do it again. We can repeat. No shame.
All right, I'm doing. But now I know, like, right now.
My dad told me the other day. He goes, "I'm sick and tired of co-signing," even though that he doesn't. I pay for everything anyway.
So when you applied, by the way, for tickets, did you do like 2 every day?
What do you mean? Oh, you can apply for
the Masters.
You can apply for 4 for the practice rounds and 2 for
but
Thursday
did you
through Sunday.
So you did 4 for each practice round day and 2 for each tournament day.
But I haven't fully applied because I still have to wait for my credit card to be accepted.
There's no credit card that is involved with this, right?
No, you have to put your billing address down first. You have to put your card down.
I know.
In the beginning.
I don't think that I've ever done that before. I just submitted my ticket application
right
there. Thank you for submitting your ticket application. There you go. Thank you for applying.
All right, let's go.
I'm in. This is like the 6th or 7th year in a row.
But don't you? You have an account though.
I have an account.
I don't have an account.
Oh, just do your account. You don't have to do credit card information.
They were telling me that I have to have credit card information.
They were also telling you that you were about to make a fool of yourself at the College World Series.
A lot of people tell me things.
Here's the information that I put in, Matt. Look at my screen right now. I did at one point. It appears as if they made me put in the last 4 digits of my SOCH, but I trust the Masters.
Okay. I just have. That's what when I went and I applied. Okay, when I went and I applied.
Yep.
They asked for all of my information.
There you go. Just got an email. Your Masters application is complete. Look at that. I did it before you did.
Well, you're welcome because you had no idea.
No, I did. I saw it out of the corner of my eye and then I kind of forgot about it. Oh, speaking of that,
why did Stibbs ask, does Matt have a flip phone?
Does Matt have a flip phone?
I used to have a flip phone.
Just trying to learn about you.
Yeah.
Stibbs knows plenty about
you. Do seem like a kind of like bare bones guy. You know what I mean? Like you live with the bare necessities. I could see you as a guy with the flip phone.
Well, look how small this phone is.
That's what I'm
This is
saying.
a very
yeah.
small phone.
It's a pretty outdated phone.
I really don't need a lot to have fun, just in general, or just to enjoy my life.
Yeah.
I just need food and beer and a good game and a comfortable seat, which has been a very difficult part of working here.
That's why you got the mark.
People ask me,
the mark card.
Matt, why do you put your foot on this chair, right, when I talk to you? And it's not because I'm a slob. It's
you
not
got back problems.
I have major back problems. And so, like, when I put the foot on the chair, I get enough leverage where my shoulders are far back enough where the pressure is off my back. People think I'm a weirdo for how I sit. It's just literally my back would be
I just yell
crippled.
at you when you move the mic all the time. As long as
but
you don't do
is
that, I'm
like-
fine.
That is just me. I just
take it easy.
You know, I'm just
Yeah, I know. You're Kramer.
I'm just antsy. I'm just an antsy guy. Like when I'm like at the movie theater, like my leg is like moving a lot. I don't know why. I can't help it.
Stib says I asked about the flip phone because apparently you can't ask your phone for directions to the ballpark. No, but
I
he
need to go to a specific spot.
He needs to go to Lot D and then walk over to the village. And
the
phone won't tell him how to do
sound really complicated.
No, it's really truly not.
I know. I'm aware, man. But
if you want to, on the first day, I can meet you in the parking lot. We can walk over together and hold hands.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah,
it'd be so much fun.
We can skip.
No, I am kind of bare necessities, but I am not. I'm doing something that is not bare necessities today. I'm going to the bash at the Boneyard.
Oh God!
Or the battle at the Boneyard.
The Boneyard
what the hell
Bash.
Are they calling that? The Boneyard Bash. No, the Boneyard Bash was like a pep rally.
You're gonna watch the children play 7-on-7 football.
I don't know what I'm expecting. I'm really just going there because I want to have a Guinness at McKinney's afterwards.
What time does it start?
6:30.
All right.
I haven't gotten told that my credentials got approved, so we're just gonna kind of show up.
Credentials?
Yeah, for media.
There's there's credentials for
yeah,
this?
well, I want to be in the press box, and then I'll just go down into the stands.
Just go in there.
I want to see. I know I like media. I have friends in the media that I don't see unless they're in the press box.
Oh yeah, you gotta hobnob with the.
Why? Just they're like Brian Christopherson and Michael Brunts,
of course.
and like I like talking to them.
Oh, I love
them.
hobnobbing.
Same like Evan Bland and Sam.
Poll
McEwen.
question: do you love hobnobbing?
Yeah. Yes, I love hobnob.
I just created an account at masters.com and applied for tickets and did not have to give a credit card.
Was I on a fake website?
I think you were given some bad information yet again.
I literally was on masters.com and they asked me, look, if I do it right now.
Just turn, if you have any questions about life, how to get through the day, just ask us. We'll steer you in the right direction.
The bad information came from masters.com, which they were like, enter your, I got a Walgreens email. I have to pick up.
Maybe you got distracted.
Yeah.
In that case specifically, just then.
Well, it's just always a little worrying when Walgreens emails me. It's like one of those. I don't check my inbox, so like so that's not true. I check my inbox every hour, maybe. Like I check my email a lot.
It's different than not checking it.
But I have like 6,000 unread messages.
Yeah, that's hard for me to understand.
Because I don't click on all of them. I only click on the ones that are important. Like this Nebraska alumni thing that's asking me for money, even though I gave them plenty of money over the last 4 years.
Just delete it. If you're Josh, you would just delete every email you've ever seen.
That's right.
What?
His
inbox is clean.
I have 3 emails in my inbox right now.
How?
It's just how he does
it.
See,
you know what? I
delete
just
the
want to say
ones that
something
I don't
right
need.
You know, maybe I wouldn't have to touch this microphone all the time if it stayed upright. Okay,
you preaching to the choir on that one.
If only there was a palatial studio that was empty for 20 hours a day.
I'm just saying. I know a lot of people give me crap for how I like touch the microphone. It's just I have to adjust the microphone.
Hey,
so it's up to my mouth.
Poll question is up at Happer Show. Do you love the hobnob? So please vote at Happer Show.
I feel like an idiot. Which is oftentimes when we talk, I kind of feel that way sometimes.
It's okay.
I
like how you own it.
You like that I own that I'm stupid.
I like that you admit your shortcomings.
I don't know why it was asking me for my debit card, and it told me that my debit card had to match. I have no clue why. I think I avoided a scam. I think I might have been scammed by a fake Masters website.
It's possible. At this point, who knows? Matt, you have a great rest. Enjoy the graveyard smash, the monster mash.
It's been a long day for me. I'm going to lunch, and then I gotta go to Lincoln.
I think it'll be fun.
Then I don't know, man.
Attitude is everything, Matt.
I'm just doing it for the black and tan that I get to have afterwards.
Oh, nice. That sounds pretty good. McKinney's does rock.
It's a very heavy drink for June 6th.
Look for my dollar on the wall.
My dollar's right by the bathroom.
My dollar's right behind the bar.
I have rewards points at McKinney's.
Nice. All right. See you later, Matt.
See ya.
That's Crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair at Omaha, everlevelconcrete.com. It's Friday. We'll start things off next.
That's the Crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone.
An air quality alert remains in effect until noon today for eastern Nebraska, staying mostly cloudy with a 20% chance of spotty showers and patchy fog also possible this morning. High this afternoon of 77 with light winds out of the north. Staying mostly cloudy tonight with a chance of overnight thunder showers by Saturday morning, a low of 60. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Why do people think the best fishing trip
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome in. It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you. Here we go. Last full normal week until we get to the College World Series.
This is that last normal weekend. What are you going to do? I assume there's a lawn mow
I think
coming this weekend.
I was in between. I almost snuck one in last night, and then the timing didn't work out. So yeah, there's definitely going to be a mow this week. We don't have time to do it next week as well.
Sure.
But yes, here we go. Speaking of which, the Super Regionals are beginning today. In fact, in less than 20 minutes in Chapel Bill. No Charles Schwackoffs, but a Chapel Thrill, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Will Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson be here?
Very unlikely. Arizona and North Carolina starting up in about 15, 20 minutes here. And so we'll follow along with the Super Regionals all day long. And then we'll pick our Omaha 8 today on the show. Elsewhere, Bryan Munson will join us in about 15 minutes, top of the hour. It's a big recruiting weekend for Nebraska football. Not only do they need to get eyes on their campus, this is what I hear everybody talk about leading into this 7-on-7 weekend that Nebraska's putting together here. It's about, getting people just getting people to campus. But guess what, Josh? I'm greedy. Nebraska needs commits. Nebraska needs players to commit to them. They are falling behind at the moment in recruiting. So if we'll talk with Bryan Munson about that coming up here in just a little bit. Brian Christopherson, we'll ask him about the biggest what ifs. And then who knows what we'll talk to Steve Sipple about coming up at 12:30. Last week, apparently it was bath water.
Yeah, soap, bath water.
Right, cool.
Sydney Sweeney's selling her bath water.
That's the lineup powered by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Want to hear from you all today, 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You can call or text that number, but we love calls. Tweeted Happer Show at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor Josh Show at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to the YouTube streamers today. What's up, everybody? Thanks for being here with us on this lovely, lovely, beautiful Friday. Elsewhere in the show, once again, we'll talk about the Supers and what to look forward to there. The Women's College World Series heads to Game 3, where it will inevitably shatter viewership records tonight. Steelers culture versus Aaron Rodgers. Here we go. John Rothstein not doing a bit.
Not at all.
The greatest college basketball rivalry gains more steam. That's right. We'll have that coming up on the show today. But I wanted to make this segment longer so we could talk about the game last night. Oh, boy. I feel bad. Because yesterday, and everybody who hosted the postgame show on ESPN said the same thing. I kind of feel bad because I had all these note cards on the dominance of the Thunder, and it just felt like it was just one of those games where it was just kind of arm's length the entire game, right? The Pacers didn't do it. I mean, they looked jittery in the first half. They were, they were turning the ball over at a rapid rate, but you just felt like the Thunder never really stomped them out, but they were going to hold them off. They were going to keep the stiff arm up throughout the duration of the game. And then all of a sudden, the later and later it got, the closer and closer it got. And all of a sudden, the Pacers cut it down to, 5 and then 3. And then they get the shot to go ahead at the end of the game. They led for 0.3 seconds. 0.3 seconds of the game and ended up stealing an NBA Finals game. Now, you tell me, Josh, because I saw this go around last night. This is the ESPN win probability from last night's Pacers and Thunder NBA Finals Game 1. I'll put it up on the screen if you're watching along with this on YouTube right now. This is the win probability from last night. Now, you tell me, does this look familiar at all to you?
Oh, no. Well,
does it?
It's a very popular thing to do whenever a team stages a late comeback to post the win probability graph. It could be any team that has blown a lead.
I'm just saying, this specifically, does this, the way this game went, specifically look like anything to you? Or are you going to play it like the robot from Westworld? Doesn't look like anything to me.
I kind of want to play it like the robot from Westworld.
Okay. All right. You're just going to ignore the fact that this is absolutely a Nebraska-Iowa game?
No.
You're ignoring this? So you're telling me that it doesn't look like a Nebraska versus Iowa football game?
A lot of teams have blown leads.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be Nebraska specific.
You're like, we're fine. They're not going to blow this, right? We're fine. We're not going to blow this.
Just enough time for Iowa to run out of time.
Right, exactly. That's what I've thought in a lot of Iowa-Nebraska football games. I've thought, hey, they might actually mount a comeback here, but it's going to be too late.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I was thinking watching the game last night. Yeah, they're looking better. The Pacers are putting it together. The Thunder are missing shots to really stomp them out. And they're just not going to have enough time. They're going to run out of time. They did not run out of time, Josh. They did not run out of time.
They did not.
Tyrese Halliburton knocks down an off step, in between step, kind of off balance, long two in the face of Lou Dort, the best defender in the NBA, without a conscience and without a timeout. It was sort of a scramble drill situation at the end of the game. And then bang, it hits you like a ton of bricks. What just happened? Because I think I tweeted with 6 or 7 minutes left in the game, maybe even lower than that. My tweet was, this is weird. This is weird, because the Pacers were starting to look like it was going to be a game, but it felt like it had oh my goodness. It felt like it had absolutely no business being a game. And there they were at the end. And yes, a lot. And like it or not, it's the NBA Finals, and we love star arcs, we love players, and we love narratives. And yes, Tyrese Halliburton has 4 game-tying or go-ahead field goals in the final 5 seconds of these playoffs. He's already one of the greatest playoff performers ever.
Yeah. I want to get the numbers
Clutch
right
time performers
here on this. This season, on shots to tie or take the lead in the final 2 minutes, just this season, Tyrese Halliburton is 13 of 15.
Which is a significant hike in percentage from what you normally shoot from the field just in normal time.
Yes.
Normal people don't shoot 13 out of 15.
Mm-hmm. This is Skip Bayless's dream player.
It
right
really
here.
is. He's a good player. He's not a great player. I don't know. Maybe he is a great player, but he's a really good player who people have a lot of conversations about. And then all of a sudden, when it gets to clutch time and the ball's in his hand, he literally never misses. He literally never misses. And so what the Pacers are doing right now, following Tyrese Halliburton and being able to pull off what they've pulled off in these playoffs, beating teams with, 60, we're talking about the Cavs and finding a way for God to, blow that shot in at Madison Square Garden on the high bounce off the rim there. I mean, it's a serious devil magic going on. They may have sold their soul for this, but I compared it last night to, yes, and I'm always going to compare it to the Royals, but
any years specific?
Yes. So I've said this before, and it's a feeling that is not, it just doesn't come around very often. It certainly doesn't happen every year with every championship team. A lot of the times teams have to just grind their way to championships or getting to game 7s or whatever it is. And yes, it is a grind, but the specific feeling, if you're a Pacers fan right now, and for honestly, as a unbiased viewer watching the Pacers right now, you have to be floating on clouds. There is no doubt when you get into a game and when you get late into a game that the players on your team are going to make the plays necessary to be able to put yourself in a position to win that basketball game. There's no doubt. And it happens a couple times and you're like, damn, I like this team. Damn, I like this team. And then it keeps happening over and over and over and over again to the point where nobody could do anything wrong. That's how it felt when the Royals were rolling through the playoffs in October of 2014. I'm like, well, and they were down in a lot of those games. They weren't in control in a lot of those games, but they came up with clutch hits late. Dudes who had no business performing in the postseason performed in the postseason, right? Because they were like fine players. Like the fact why the Royals are bringing back guys like Eric Hosmer and Mike Moustakas right now is not because of course it's because they won and they won a world championship, but it's because they elevated their game in the postseason and came up with huge, like there's a moment for each and every one of those guys. And for the Pacers, it seems like it's all pulled into Tyrese Halliburton. It's like he is all of those guys combined into one guy during the postseason. And it's amazing to watch. They had no business winning that game. None whatsoever. And so people will come on they'll go on the TV today and they'll say, well, listen, but now I don't know what Stephen A's take is, but I'm going to do it in the Stephen A voice. Now listen, I have a lot of respect for what Tyrese Halliburton did last night. He was incredible. He was marvelous. He was fantastic. But however, let me just say this first. The Thunder choked. The Thunder blew that game. And sure, but I choose to view it as, wow, look at this amazing generational run we're having right now of incredible playoff performances.
So I saw the score last night. I didn't watch the game.
Yeah.
I was asleep. But I saw the score. I saw the highlight and I went, oh, we've officially entered Team of Destiny territory here.
100%.
Like, if you're the Pacers fan, you're running around going, we are a team of destiny. Nothing can stop us. Bleep you.
Yep. That's right. And to the point where I'm actually like rooting for them. Like I was all in on this narrative about the coronation of the Thunder. Like they deserve this. And it is still, it's still going to be really difficult to beat them. It's still going to be really difficult to beat them, but you stole game one on the road. So you can theoretically do anything. I thought the Nuggets against the Thunder sort of gave it everything they had to be able to steal. Well, they stole game one on the road as well, right? To be able to steal game one on the road. And I thought that's probably as good as it gets. And we're not going to run that performance back 3 more times and get the breaks and the draws at the end of the game to be able to actually win this series. But they pushed it. They pushed it all the way to 7. And so maybe we get in that circumstance in this series. And I tell you what, Josh, if these two teams get into a game 7, who you picking?
Probably going to pick the more clutch of the two teams,
100%.
Which seems to be the Pacers at this point.
100%. The yes sirs, as they're calling them.
Many are calling them that.
Venmo Chris has a couple of things. He says, morning, gents. I am very pleased with NBA basketball at the moment. Me too. I was tweeting about the NBA. Usually it's just me during the NBA playoffs tweeting about myself, but it seemed like a lot of people were watching it last night, which was fantastic. And then he says, don't forget Siakam and Aaron Nesmith, very clutch plays at the end of many, many games. No doubt about it. But Halliburton's the one who ends up with the shot with the ball in his hands at the end. Yeah, Nembhard too. Nembhard was like fearless. He's like, sure, I'm in the NBA finals. I don't really care.
I don't care.
Whatever. What difference does it make to you? I got the best defenders in the world on me. It's like, what difference does it make to me? That's fantastic.
We're in the NBA. We're all good players, right?
I have a couple more thoughts on the presentation of the NBA finals a little bit later on in the show. I like what they've done on one side, and on the other side, it could use a little bit more work. So we'll get to that a little bit later on. Once again, glad you're with us here on this Friday. Steve Sipple coming up at 12:30. Brian Christopherson at 11:30. But next, it's a big recruiting weekend for Nebraska football. Let's have a chat with Bryan Munson from HuskerOnline.com. Coming up on 1620 The Zone.
Bryan Munson.
Hey, long call. Comfy left zoom buster. 63 bang. Z Maui. Alert. Paradise Z Burger Y wrap on one.
Husker Online on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, it's been a while, for me anyway, and we bring in our good friend, Bryan Munson from Husker Online, joining us now via the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Hi, Munson. How are you?
We had a good conversation in your absence last week. We had a great conversation, mostly covering UNK Loper athletics.
Wow.
So,
Austin is a Carney guy.
Yeah, your audience was totally brought up to speed on all the happenings out there in central Nebraska. And yeah, we brought them all up to speed. It was good.
And then 2 weeks ago, I realized that I forgot to tell you that we weren't doing a show 2 weeks ago. And then you called me while I was at Creighton's practice. And we did have a conversation during that point in time. It just wasn't on the air.
No, and I think you and I agreed, like, it's been tough. Like over the last month or two, I think you and I have kind of scrambled to kind of say, what are we going to talk about? Like recruiting is like at a standstill. But then all of a sudden you go from straight up standstill to huddle orientation to battle of the boneyard to the first weekend of official visitors. And I don't think there's ever been more like recruiting talent, kind of going on in Lincoln right now than there is this weekend. It's insane what's going on there.
So that's a good lead in here. So when you think about all the stuff going on, there's the 7-on-7, tournament type of deal that they're doing. There's the official visits, and you have the list up on HuskerOnline.com right now. There's so many different things going on. It's a big weekend where Nebraska needs results coming out of it as well. When you think about all of it put together, like where does your mind go first? What's the biggest thing to watch for this weekend?
Well, I think right now, what I've been watching since basically Sunday, I've been watching Trey Taylor work. He has been linked to two 2026 wide receivers getting offers. This morning, he was taking pictures with the number one tight end in the 2027 class and a 5-star offensive tackle that are up there for the huddle orientation. And, there's 9 official visitors coming in. And I think that this is where things become pretty critical, as far as the class is concerned, because there hasn't been any recent commitments. It's basically stalled out. And I think Nebraska's kind of shoved all their chips into the middle of the table on 3 weekends in June. And they've got 9 guys this week, 1 midweek guy next week, 10 guys next weekend, and then 9 the following. So you got 30 or so guys that we know about right now. But as we've already seen, the number one nickel back, probably nickel corner in the entire country came off the board earlier this week to A&M and canceled his official visit to Nebraska this weekend. So you don't have an ability to kind of take much more of those kind of losses right here, because there's nowhere to pivot to. There are no fallback plans. And he basically told me he's done. No more official visits. He's been to A&M. He's out. So I think you've really got to start watching for maybe some of those types of guys to maybe say that they've seen enough that they're going to go ahead and commit to Nebraska, or maybe they're limiting their list a little bit. I mean, Nebraska has seen their way out of, like I said, the nickel corner. They lost out on Titan Davis. Titan Davis is down now to a final 2. I mean, Nebraska's got to have some positive juice and mojo going. And I think some of this 2027, 2028 stuff from Huddle and from 7-on-7, I think some of that can get going in that area too, but they need some movement in the 26 class.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people's analysis on this, including yours. And basically, if I'm to pull it all together, people always ask like, hey, are they going to get a bunch of commits out of this? And the response is from the recruiting analysts like, I don't know. It doesn't really work. It doesn't always work like that. But I will say it's getting late early, as you just said, and Nebraska needs some wins. So like, it does feel like they have to get a couple out of this, and maybe not so much on the delayed fuse part of it either. Like they kind of need some commits now and to get that ball moving down the hill a little bit.
No, I agree with you. I mean, getting late early is a great way. That's a great analogy. I mean, it's not even the 4th of July, but you've got 3 weekends that Nebraska's basically stockpiled all their official visits into. And if you don't strike it rich now and you don't catch those guys in July, you could be looking at, pretty lean times coming into September. And I don't know, what did we have? 1 or 2 official visitors basically all season last year? There wasn't much going on. Basically, the class was in the boat, and it was done.
Yep.
And I do know that there's always some final arranging of numbers and compensation and stuff like that kind of happens throughout the month of July to kind of make things a little bit more interesting. And Nebraska did their best, as they to kind of close things out, like with Cortez Mills and stuff like that down the stretch in the November, December days. But that's like onesie twosie stuff. You're not flipping half the class. You're flipping a guy or two where it makes sense to do it. Otherwise, it's just like you gotta hit it here. Otherwise, I mean, there isn't a place to go to. I mean, if you're really concerned about the 105 and this is what your kind of angle is, then so be it. But the way that things set up right now with 30 guys coming in, it looks like Nebraska does want to hit this out of the park when it comes this month, because they got some really, really talented guys coming in the next 3 weekends.
So that's a great segue into the individual sort of player question. Like who can, I mean, there's a lot of talented players, as you just said. Is there any over the next 3 weeks that meet that right, combination of, man, I'm really interested in these guys as players, and also Nebraska has a legit shot to get a commitment from them?
Yeah, I think that there's a couple maybe this weekend that I would keep a close eye on. I mean, I think the number one guy that's trending really hard for Nebraska is Rex Waterman, who's an offensive lineman from Chandler, Arizona. He visited Nebraska 2 or 3 times. I can't remember off the top of my head, but everything moved so quickly. Nebraska was at his school like in February, March. They offered. He was basically in town like 3 weeks later, 2 weeks later, and he came back again for the spring. Yeah, I think he came back again for the spring game. And now he's back here first weekend in June. Nebraska's, I think he already saw UCLA last weekend. So, I mean, there are some other pretty heavy suitors. He's a smart kid. I think he's got Duke on his list as well. But I think Nebraska is, right there. One guy I love, this is like privately, like one of my favorite guys to watch in the entire 2026 class, Ryan Moret out of Miami Southridge High School. He's an offensive lineman, probably projects to play center, but, state champion wrestler, got an edge to him, and really likes Nebraska. Now, I think if you go out there, you say, yeah, but he's trending to Miami and stuff like that. Look, Miami's obviously hosted him a number of times, but he is very serious about Nebraska. And I think that that's a good situation for the Huskers. They've got 4 of the 9 guys coming in this weekend are offensive linemen. 6 of the 9 are offensive recruits. And, so that's a great thing. One of the defensive guys is a Syracuse commitment, the edge, Cameron Wilson from Florida. Lots of Florida guys going to be there. Probably the fastest guy on the running back board, and Brian Bonner is going to be in town this weekend too. Very interesting to kind of see how things are going. And maybe their number one offensive tackle, that they have the possibility of getting to, Calvin Obot, from Idaho. I think that that's also, a guy to kind of keep an eye on too. He's number 7 offensive tackle in the country. So there are some studs, absolute studs in Lincoln this weekend for official visits.
So you have that group, and then I guess, do you view the 7-on-7, thing, that the event that they're doing is sort of separate from that? I mean, there you have younger guys, 27s, 28s, with a little bit more time, right? and that is being spearheaded by Trey Taylor, as you talked about a little bit before, and he's really involved in that part of it with those guys. So that piece of it is a little bit separate. Maybe that side is more about, hey, we got to get kids to Lincoln. As long as we get them here, then we're going to have a shot to really open things up as far as their recruitment is concerned.
That is exactly what I was saying in Tunnel Talk last week, man, because I think the biggest challenge for Nebraska ever is getting guys on campus. It's not you got to really travel kind of out of your way. It's nothing really else that you can kind of do to kind of piggyback on it. You're not going to going to Dallas, it allows you to go to SMU, TCU, UNT, drive down to Waco, hit Texas, and then head on down to College Station, like all within about like a 300-mile circle. You're hitting Nebraska, and you're probably hopping back on a flight and going someplace else. So it's really kind of a destination thing. And if you're going there, you're usually going there just for that one thing. So yeah, it's a challenge to get people to kind of come there, but Nebraska did a bang up job. They got 15 guys coming in for the 2027 class, and they have, I think there was, or maybe it was 14, and then there were 6 more for the orientation. And then you have 12. It's 12 teams now for the 7-on-7, right? So they have 3 pools of 4 teams that should be involved with that. There's a number of 4-star guys. I'm actually going back through some of the roster stuff that I just kind of received here in the last, couple of hours, and kind of re-examining some of the names that are kind of on here. But like prior to that, like when I had the other rosters and information, I think I counted 49 5-star or 4-star guys,
Wow.
on the rosters.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane how much talent is there between that group, the 20 guys that are there for the huddle orientation, plus the 9 guys in there for the official visit. That's why I was saying, it's really lining up then you have Trey on the ground, boots on the ground, peer recruiting, with the top players that are there, in the country. Lincoln's a busy place to be this weekend.
Well, let me just say, I think this is, and you can comment on this, and I don't know, I assume you agree, like, this is a great idea. I mean, I think obviously Nebraska fans will show, but it's not really, it's not really about that. Like, it's a really good quote unquote excuse, for the lack of a better word, to get those type of players on your campus and just have them run the 7-on-7 circuit. I'm sure they think it's cool as well to be able to, play 7-on-7 in Memorial Stadium and stuff like that. Like, this is a really sneaky good idea by Matt Rule and his recruiting staff to put this together and then have it coincide with a big official visit weekend as well. Obviously, they have to cash in, like we've said before, but I really like this whole 7-on-7, circuit deal that they have going on. I think it's a great idea.
No, I do too. And I think what's awesome about it is that you basically put the facilities there as kind of a functional deal versus like a tourable deal.
Mm-hmm.
So now all of a sudden you're putting the guys into the stadium, into the practice, fields, indoor, outdoor, all that good stuff, bringing in the medical, bringing in the spaces to where they can kind of go spread out and kind of go hang out. And then, oh yeah, by the way, there's this stuff over here. And oh, did you see the locker room? Let's go check it out. You've got this like functional reason to kind of be there for your 7-on-7. And as you kind of step through it and you need things as things kind of move on throughout the week or throughout the day to day, I mean, it's one of those things that's like, man, the facilities there in Nebraska were scary great. Like, I had been to a number of different places, but like I've never seen things like that before. And things just kind of after every turn, but wherever we had to go to, there was something new, and we got involved and did this and ate here and did that. I think it's just going to be fantastic, kind of responses from all those guys that are taking it all in, because it's a functional deal versus just kind of looking at it from the surface about what could possibly be. You're actually in there, using it and touching it with your hands.
I wonder if anything comes to your head here. Is there a storyline out of all of this, aside from the really big top headlines of guys, maybe it's not even a recruit that they have coming in. It's just sort of a thing that you're watching as far as all of this is concerned this weekend. Is there anything that we're not talking about? Is there an underrated storyline that you could see emerging out of this weekend?
Well, I think it's really, I think that all of the connections, obviously, that are happening with Trey Taylor, it's got to be the first and foremost, I think, on everybody's minds. I mean, you've got guys there that are obviously connected to him, that are taking pictures. Mark Matthews, Ahmad Hudson, they're taking pictures with him. You got guys already that are tweeting things this morning, like Duvet Williams, who's like a 4-star corner from Gardenia, California. And he's talking about, being there in Lincoln today. I reached out to several of them last night to kind of get ideas, like when they were traveling back out again. These guys essentially are having like another official visit as juniors or sophomores. I mean, they were in basically last night, today. They don't go back out again until Sunday. I mean, there eight of the 9 official visitors that came in for the official visit this weekend, they were here Thursday night. You got the 9th one showing up today, that'll be there all the way till Sunday. So this is an exceptionally long weekend. Nebraska's maximizing the right time here. So I think it's really, Trey Taylor, the long weekend, what it can kind of yield. I think Matt Rule gets a chance to kind of work his magic. I'm sure Dylan is going to be, having some opportunities to speak to all these guys, whether it's with the huddle or the 7-on-7 stuff. And I think Trey Taylor announced this morning that he's actually going to be playing in the 7-on-7 thing. So this kid's everywhere. He's huddle. He's 7-on-7. He was here for the camp last weekend. I think he's competing again, later this weekend. He might as well just go ahead and move on into Lincoln right now. So that guy is going to be there a lot this summer.
Yep, no doubt about it. He's very, very, very active out there. That's for sure. Munson, great stuff. As always, good to chat and have fun covering all this stuff this weekend. There's a lot going on.
Good to talk to you, buddy. We'll talk soon.
Bryan Munson, HuskerOnline.com. You can check out his list. It's up at Husker Online now. And then all the coverage over the last couple of weeks, 7-on-7, the Boneyard Bash, the Monster Mash, whatever it is. That's legit, by the way. I know I'm cynical with a lot of this recruiting stuff. That 7-on-7 idea, because the 7-on-7 thing is huge right now. That 7-on-7 idea is a really good one. Like, hey, there's a 7-on-7 circuit. We have these basically AAU 7-on-7 teams that are going on and playing tournaments around the country over the summer. So why not have us stop here? And, oh, yeah, by the way, have you seen our facility? 4-star recruit, 5-star recruit?
Hey, you're right here. It's Why don't we just pop in real quick?
Yeah.
Won't take any time at all.
It's nice.
Come on.
Can't you see yourself like maybe playing here? Like, wouldn't that be cool?
I don't know if you heard Levante David said there's NFL teams that don't have this stuff.
There's it's kind of weird that there's 7,500 to 10,000 people at this thing. Imagine what it looks like on a game day. Speaking of which, gosh, dang it, this thing. I apologize.
Nothing but the best here.
I hit it with my hand sometimes.
That shouldn't matter.
So the speaking of recruiting, the picture was going around this morning. So Tyrese Halliburton, the finals hero from last night.
I'm familiar.
He, in his recruiting journey, was really down to 3. He ended up going to Iowa State, but his other 2 were Minnesota and Nebraska.
Whoa.
Nebraska recruited him, wanted him, and at one point thought they had him in 2017. So Robin on the Husker Online website on the message board, he put up a picture from his official visit, and I was able to track down. So he was at the football game on September 1st, 2017, or he started his official visit weekend September 1st of 2017, which would have meant he saw the season opener in 2017. Remember, there was some excitement going into that season for Nebraska football. Diaco Mania had arrived. They were coming off of a 9-win season, but I know it was sort of tricky. But there was some excitement going into that year. They played Arkansas State and won by like a touchdown, and it was close, like all the way through.
43-36.
Yeah, 43-30. And then they went and got shellacked at Oregon the next week.
42-35.
It was worse than that. And then they came back home again and lost to Northern Illinois when
That's
Tanner
right.
Lee threw all those interceptions, and then Sean Eichhorst got fired.
Womp womp.
Yeah, big womp womp. But Tyrese Halliburton was at the season opener from that season. He's originally out of Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Wasn't a super high valued recruit, but like a regional Midwest guy. Was down to Iowa State, Minnesota, and Nebraska, and just at the end there ended up picking Iowa State. And I want to find the tapes on this, because somewhere out there is tape of me saying that in his draft class 2020, he was my favorite guy.
Whoa.
Now,
Connor.
that hasn't aged perfectly, because Anthony Edwards was the number 1 pick in that draft, and he's better. Right?
But it's aged nicely.
But it's aged terrifically.
Yeah.
It is aged terrifically. If you look at the other guy, I was looking through this last night just to confirm that I was right about this. Name some of the other guys in that 2020 draft, Josh.
Obi Toppin.
Yeah, he's good. Teammate, friend.
LaMelo Ball.
No. I mean, he's fine, but like, come on.
Wow.
We got a guy who's making clutch shots in the NBA Finals.
Yeah. This is Tyrese Maxey.
Maxey's fine.
People like him.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Quickly.
That flamed out.
Peyton Pritchard.
Okay, there's a good role player.
These are people I know.
Yeah,
and when I find
there's a lot of people
one,
you don't know.
I'll read them.
There's a lot of people you don't know in that draft.
I think we're probably done here.
It was at the peak of
Kenyon Martin Jr.
There was some like overseas guys too. I remember there was a lot of conversation about Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito?
Danny DeVito.
Not tall enough.
He ended up going before Halliburton, and I thought this is ridiculous.
Oh,
because we were really obsessed with the.
There he is right there.
Yeah, we were really obsessed with the Europeans at that time because that's gone. Oh boy, North Carolina.
Dogtown?
Yeah, North Carolina's putting it on Arizona.
It was 1-0 Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona's like, we here, baby, and then it's 5-1.
Oof.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah. With 0 outs, by the way, in the bottom of the first. 0 outs. So the Super Regionals are off to a lovely, lovely start. Anyway, Tyrese Halliburton could have been a Husker. Maybe should have been a Husker.
Really dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah, maybe Nebraska would have made the NCAA tournament more under Tim Miles if they had Tyrese Halliburton.
Probably.
All right. I believe they ended up in that class getting Brady Hyman.
I'm not familiar.
That did not work out. Don't make a joke, Josh.
I hadn't thought of one.
Asian Joe writes in.
Hi,
Connor
Joe.
proving he knows ball. If you believe me. Yeah. If you believe me that I had that take. I did, for the record. I consider myself a pretty trustworthy guy. I consider myself a man of faith.
As someone hits a home run in Chapel Hill.
By the way, Arizona's bullpen sprinting down the line right now. You better get down there. All right, quick break. Brian Christopherson is on the other side. We'll talk more on the field stuff with him. I want to ask him about some of those big what ifs for the season that we talked about yesterday. What are BC's? Coming up on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, Brian. Brian Christopherson.
I gotta take this. It's Hap.
Be right. Be Rooney. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry.
Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, and we're joined now by Brian Christopherson of Husker 247, the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline, BC. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Did you? I know it. There was a moment over the last several weeks where there was like some Aaron Rodgers to the Vikings buzz. And so now that's officially done, I assume you let out a deep, sigh of relief yesterday.
You know what? I'm not as bothered by that as some because I learned in the Brett Favre Vikings era. I know there's the Netflix doc out on him right now, so he's not the most popular guy to talk about maybe, but I couldn't stand him for the longest time when he was at the Packers, and then he got to Minnesota, and I was kind of down on it all off season. And then he threw a touchdown to beat the 49ers in the last 25 seconds. And I didn't give a crap of whatever he thought about anything or where he played before that. I was like, let's win, baby. Let's go to the Super Bowl.
You just throw away all your morals at that point.
well, I don't know. I don't know everything about everyone, and I'm not going to throw stones. But I definitely was like, whatever it takes. I was in the Al Davis just win, baby camp.
I love that.
So that's my take on it, I guess. That's not what you're supposed to say, probably.
No.
But yeah, we'll see if J.J. McCarthy, if we've got the dude or not. But I guess there are a lot of Vikings fans I know though that were definitely not wanting Aaron Rodgers.
Well, there was the video this week of JJ throwing those passes, and people seem to be infatuated with that. So that's good.
Yeah, he's the next Tom Brady. He's from Michigan. We're kind of riding that storyline right now that he's been undersold and he's about to show everybody. So we'll see.
Oh man, I love the NFL offseason. Brian Christopherson, Husker 247 is with us. Okay, so before I ask you, about this year's team, I do want to ask you big picture about sort of what Nebraska has, this weekend with big events on campus, off campus, right? They're hosting a lot of people to show off this weekend. I guess, where does this sit in the recruiting calendar for you as far as like, is this the biggest weekend that they have? I mean, the game day weekends are obviously still really important, but the way that the recruiting calendar is sort of moved up, you got to feel like these next couple weekends are about as big as it gets.
Yeah, I think you could easily make the argument it's the highest collection of talent in Nebraska at one time when you combine the 7v7 event, the huddle event that's going on that has a lot of 27 and 28 like 4-star guys at it. Obviously Trey Taylor's part of that, and then there's like 9 official visitors that usually would be the main thing we're talking about,
right.
But it's not. I was just writing a column that I'm about to put up about, if nothing else, we'll see how it is executed and how it goes today. But I appreciate the boldness. Like, what did separate Nebraska football, back in the day was innovation and sort of getting ahead of the curve on things, with like strength and conditioning training table. Well, everybody's got those bells and whistles now. And so you're looking for, what's that one thing where I can get an edge, where I have something that nobody else has quite done yet. And this is a unique event. And like I was talking with former Husker Abdul Muhammad, who's part of the Team Domo team that's there. And he's really proud of the fact that Nebraska spearheaded this and some of the talent that's going to be on display at the 7-on-7. It's not easy to organize to get at least a dozen teams from all over the country, to come to Nebraska. But if you do it well, I know there are others who are going to try to copycat this for sure. But if you set the tone and it's like, and those teams are like, man, that was a good event, I'll go back to it. And it becomes a tradition. I could see where it could be, it could set up future W's for Nebraska if they post a good weekend here.
Agreed. No doubt about it. It's a big planning the seed weekend, and then they need some results as well. Brian Christopherson's with us. BC, I brought this topic up yesterday, and you do a really good job at approaching the offseason angles sort of in this vein. So this is like a BC type of topic that I had yesterday. But I was wondering out loud about the biggest what ifs for Nebraska this year. If you complete the sentence of, hey, if this season goes well for Nebraska, then this has happened. What are the first couple things that come to your mind on the biggest what ifs, where if Nebraska gets positive results in their season this year, then it's ultimately going to lead to a positive result at the end of the season?
Yeah, I mean, a few basic numbers would be like if like Ryle posts like a 2.5 to 1, touchdown interception ratio. If you're like, +8, +10 in turnover margin. If you have a field goal kicker amongst the guys who are working for that job who suddenly hits like 15 of 17 kicks, and it becomes a deal where you expect him to make a 42-yarder. Those are the things that kind of pop into my head first and foremost. And then, I think back to like what coaches said a lot in the spring on the defensive side of the ball about wanting, I think, to enhance some of what they do on third down. And so I don't know exactly what that's going to look like,
right?
But can Nebraska, bump up their third down defense percentage just a few points, like they weren't terrible at it by any means under Tony White, but knock that up like 2 or 3 percentage points, get that one extra stop on a third down in a, 3 or 4 point game. That's the stuff that makes all the difference. So, and also with that, as I talk about the defense and third down, it's like, can they be stout in the red zone? Can this be an opportunistic team where you have a high touchdown percentage on offense, but also you just have one of those years where maybe teams do move it occasionally on you, but on the 15-yard line on 3rd and 2, you shut it off.
Yep.
That's going to be everything for this team. I guess an encouraging sign was in John Butler's first game as DC, different group of guys, but they were really good in the red zone, and that's sort of why they won the game. So you got to take that forward and make that like a routine thing.
I feel like every offseason we end up talking about like, hey, if they could just get if they could cut down on the turnovers offensively and get a few more defensively, then, things are going to straighten out from a record perspective. Like, we're always trying to do the math. They did cut down on the turnovers offensively significantly last year. They lacked a little bit of that explosion. Defensively, it hasn't, they just haven't been that type of defense for a while now. They've been good, but it's been more of the like, hey, let's keep it in front of us, and they're going to have to work really, 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 really hard to score a touchdown. This, like, if you could characterize what you see in this defense, will it be the one that finally gets a little bit more explosive, giving the ball back to the offense?
I don't want to just predict that for sure. I do think that's the intention with an aggressive mindset that you're sort of picking up in the quotes from John Butler and the players. They played a lot of things very close to the vest with what they said, but you would hear Butler say things like, I think we found some blitzers that we really like. And you would hear Deshaun Singleton speak about how they're kind of moving him around at different parts. And I think that includes even blitzing him on occasion. And then, and then he goes back, plays more of a natural safety, maybe on a down. So you do all sorts of different things with him. And so you're hoping that confusion, if you can create a little bit more chaos in some of those, especially money down situations for a 19, 20-year-old quarterback, that he does force a pass and then makes a couple more mistakes this season. I'm by no means going to, especially when we haven't seen a John Butler defense for the first year, go out and proclaim they're going to just like have a 2003 season where they took the ball away all the time. That's going way back, but I think the Bullocks brothers and stuff, that's always like the definition to me of just like a defense that was just ball hawk. But I am hopeful for that year. We can't dismiss the fact they did have 3 pick sixes last year, and they were big moments for this team. But I think there's a higher quantity that's still out there to grab, where you get in the 20s with your takeaways for the season, and you are one of the top like 15 teams at that, you thrive on it. So if they could do that, that's worth an extra win or two. And then it just goes to like, can you stack those things together? Then can you do that? Can you then get Mike Eckler to get special teams where they expect to change games and not just try to hang in there and all that stuff? I mean, if those things stack, then it becomes real fun, but they got to prove they can do it.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at it over the last, 10 years or so. 20 is a really good number. We're talking about turnovers gained, like raw, not margin, turnovers gained. So last year they had 17. Rule's first year they had 14, 16, 13 before that, 7 in 2020. Obviously they played less games. 21 back in 2019, that was 34th in the country and strictly just turnovers gained. Obviously the offense didn't help them out with turning the ball over in that category. But there's been some really low water marks. But Rule, at one point, I mean, in his third year at Baylor, they got 30. In his third year at Temple, he got 22. And his next year at Temple, he had 25. So I don't know. I still think they're on where the offense may have gone off course a little bit and changed direction. The defense might still be on that, hey, this is the third year under Matt Rule. It might pop.
Yeah, I'm glad you put some of the numbers out there because I didn't want to say them incorrect. It gave me a chance to look at them. Like you needed 20 last year takeaways on defense to be like top 40.
Yep.
Like that's how many to be top 40 basically. And you would have needed like 25 to be top like 15 or in the top dozen, what I mentioned earlier. So, I mean, that we're talking about what they have 17 last year.
Yep.
I mean, we're talking about, can you get 6, 7 more of those? I mean, think of what that means within the games and all that. Obviously you kind of like to distribute them out. Sometimes those numbers can get skewed where a team has like a day where they take it away 5 times and then they go on a drought and they don't get any. But I do think they need to get that back consistently where they're like a defense that they get in the 20s with turnovers and that's sort of their MO.
Yep, I'm with you. And I do think, especially this year, I mean, the offense plays into it too, BC. Like I characterized it yesterday as, it felt like that fit their style for what they were doing over the last 2 years where the offense, when you got the ball back to the offense, you weren't exactly sure what they were going to do with it. Like the purpose of the offense having the ball was almost to hold it and have the other offense kind of not be on the field. Like this year, maybe, hopefully, I guess for Nebraska, you're in a situation where you're getting the ball back to the offense for the intent purpose of scoring. You know what I mean? Like, you feel like the offense could actually do something with it when they get the ball back.
That's a good point, Connor, because I think if you have if you feel like it's just a more aggressive mindset on offense, that translates to your whole team. Yep. And I wrote this week about the drive Nebraska had to close the game against Wisconsin. People might remember Nebraska was dominating the game, and then it got a little dicey for a minute or two where it was a 12-point game suddenly with about 8.5 minutes left. Nebraska didn't get risky by any means, but Holgorsen ran his offense. They're running RPO pass plays with Corey Barney across the middle. They're putting the ball in the air. They didn't just run the ball into the line 3 times and punt it and just hope the clock runs out. And Rule has talked about that drive a couple times this offseason. It wasn't just a clock milking drive by any means. But that's also why he brought Holgorsen in with that sort of mindset. Like, let's make the routine stuff we did on Tuesday work in clutch moments on Saturday, and we're going to trust we can execute it and not just get stale and try to limp to the finish line. So if you have that mindset with your offense, it definitely can translate to your whole team. So we'll see if they can kind of feed off each other in that way.
All right, BC, great stuff as always. Always appreciate the offseason thoughts from you. It definitely sparks my mind on some other things we could be thinking about over the next couple of months, and God knows we need it. Good to talk. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Happer.
Brian Christopherson, Husker 247. Think about put a pin in that one real quick. The idea that, because I've been mentioning this entire offseason with Nebraska football, because people always talk about, hey, this is year 3 for Matt Rule, and year 3 it's going to pop. right? Because this is what happens for Matt Rule.
Always does.
Year 3, it pops. And I've made the point of like, I actually don't think this is a year 3 anymore. This feels different than his other 2 spots where it built toward a year 3, right? They've changed a lot going into this offseason. I think offensively they have veered onto a different course. It could be and should be theoretically better because they have Dana Holgerson who's running it.
Holgo the Yoko.
Defensively, they might still be on that course. Right? I don't know if it's going to be statistically better just because of the new personnel that you have, but it does feel like maybe you've built to the point where, okay, we've learned a lot, and what we've learned is we just need to point blank period as a team get more explosive offensively and defensively. We need to be able to feel like we could score the ball on offense, and defensively we need to be able to get the ball back to it. Right? So I don't know. Those numbers are pretty staggering. I mean, these ranks. So last year in turnovers gained, Nebraska was they had 17. That was 67th in the country, tied with a bunch of teams for 67th. Before that, 93rd, 73rd, 104, 103, and then Frost in 18 and 19, his first 2 years, 57 and 34. Those are ranks. It just straight up turnovers gained. Nebraska is rarely in the top 75%, 75th percentile of the country in turnovers gained. I mean, it's got to change. They got to be able to get those. All right, let's take a break. Josh has the odd news when we return on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
Oh my! Is there a Katsopoulos rule in the Super Regionals?
An eighth run has hit home plate for the Tar Heels.
Mercy. 8-1. 1 out, bottom of the second. That poor Arizona guy has gotten 4 outs, and he has really, really struggled to get them.
Struggling.
Yeah. Didn't what's his name say that to Michelle Tafoya that one time? Struggling.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. He's saying some curse words into his glove as he gets taken out of this game. North Carolina's on top of Arizona. Josh, I know this is a famous day in history. Of course.
Aren't they all?
Yeah, we'd like to recognize, of course,
sure,
D-Day in 1944, but also June 6th of 2023. Sorry, my hand touched the microphone again. I'd like to turn your attention to this day in Connor Happer history. 2 years ago, I tweeted, just ate one of the best sandwiches I've ever eaten. Actually, this was 2 years ago and one day. That was at 6:14 p.m. And then I just didn't get back on Twitter for the rest of the night and into the next day.
That's right.
So
leaving us all wondering.
I just sat there for a while. And then I decided to troll people even further with a string of tweets before eventually telling people what sandwich I had. I'll recount them to you now. The next morning at 7:12.
Bright and early.
Okay. My Twitter just exploded.
Oh, wow.
So I will not be recounting this to you. Okay. And my mic apparently won't work either.
Nah.
Okay.
Neither is essential.
Wow. It's gone. So never mind. Nobody cared about that probably anyway. But by the way, when you search at Connor Happer sandwich, there are a lot of results.
Stibbs chimes in the YouTube stream.
Stibbs was specifically one of the people that was mad that day, I think.
He said, I must say I remember this because I wanted to know very badly what the sandwich was.
I refound the thread.
Okay.
I'm ready to talk more about my sandwich. I did not take a picture of it. It will live internally only in my memory. It cannot and will not be tainted by a photograph. I did not make it myself. I could not have made this sandwich. I will say this, the chances of me finding this sandwich were slim. I wasn't looking for it. I like to think maybe it found me. It came out of a large selection of restaurants in a city I've never been to before. Maybe everything happens for a reason. There is a certain amount of hesitation that comes with telling people about this sandwich. My description will not suffice. Just as a picture would not do the trick either. I understand that I cannot please everyone, but I feel as if I owe it to you all. I'm concerned that someone might say, I've been there before. I had that sandwich. It was just okay. I suppose I'll just have to live with the consequences. And then I told people what the sandwich was. And then I said, one more note. Normally I walk up to a menu, I see a Cubano, I order a Cubano.
That's right.
For reasons I cannot explain, yesterday was different. I confidently walked to the counter and said, shrimp al ajillo, which was the name of the sandwich. I did not choose to say this. A greater force did. It was just a special day. And it was. And it was. I had a great sandwich.
3 years ago today.
2 years.
2 years ago today.
Yep. What do we got today?
Well, the NBA Finals last night, as the Pacers were frantically mounting a comeback, Fort Wayne affiliate took the time to...
Oh, my God, I saw this.
Tease the 11 o'clock news.
It gave me a lot of stress.
With just over a minute left in the fourth quarter and the Pacers trailing 110-107, Pascal Siakam blocked a layup from SGA as Indiana dribbled the ball up the court following the block shot. WPTA's coverage of the game cut away, teasing the upcoming news. Ironically, one of the segments teased for the upcoming news was about a Game 1 watch party.
Mm-hmm.
They missed the buzzer beating.
I don't understand how
Victory
this can
shot.
happen, and I don't usually call for people to be fired a lot, but this feels like the right time.
It had to be
Somebody either didn't do their job aggressively or somebody did their job very poorly.
it had to be hard timed, right? Like it had to be.
That'd be my guess.
This is playing at 11:05. I've scheduled it to play
because it was a promo for the local news. It was like, "Hey, coming up to you at 10 or whatever," wasn't it? Or was it like they were actually going to the newscast?
Mm-hmm. This was a tease for the newscast.
It was a tease. Okay,
yeah.
Because I thought at the end of that clip they went into it. They were like, "Hey, welcome everybody to the studio," and I'm like, "Oh my goodness," that it gave me a lot of anxiety, and I'm not an anxiety-filled person.
You are
Josh.
not. Maybe you should be.
By the way,
more so.
So just to take you back to Chapel Hill real quick.
Yeah, please.
So North Carolina got up 8-1 with 1 out in the second. The last 2 outs to complete the second inning for Arizona have been on a miraculous diving catch by the center fielder,
who earlier in that inning missed a dive and allowed some runs to.
And then the third out in the second was a robbed home run by the center fielder. So they are just torching all of the Arizona pitchers at the moment. But anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Tough times.
Time for the truck spill of the week. We go to Pennsylvania.
Plaquette says, "Holy hell, you have a lot of sandwich tweets."
My man loves sandwiches.
He's going through and liking a lot of them right now.
Connor, very expensive items spilled across the interstate this week in
well, everything's expensive, Josh.
That's right. What food item is very expensive and would be newsworthy if it were to be strewn across the highway?
What's the caviar? Caviar is my guess. Caviar.
Good guess given the clues I gave you, but it's hundreds of egg cartons.
Oh, eggs. I don't know how much eggs cost.
That's right. We've established that.
Right.
Hundreds of egg cartons fell behind the old Fairview Tavern on Fairview Road. The back lot was covered in yolks and egg cartons, and people laughed. The ground, while the truck and cartons were cleaned up, the ground is still stained with yellow yolk.
Are eggs still expensive?
I have no idea.
Oh, so you're like me?
I was with you the whole time.
Okay.
But I used you as a meat shield.
That's okay. That's all
right. Finally. If I say the name Dakota Johnson, do you know who that is?
Yes, I do.
Okay. She knows that revenge is a dish best shipped to someone's front door. The 35-year-old Nepo baby has spilled the details on how she once sent an entire gallon of gorilla poop to a man who broke her friend's heart and explained how you can too.
Who was she a Nepo baby of?
Don Johnson from Miami Vice.
Okay.
I believe her mom is also famous, but I just can't. I can't place the name right now.
Let's go see.
Yeah, you look that up. Get back to us. When asked if she really sent a crappy package during her new lie detector test video for Vanity Fair, Johnson confirmed that, yep, the story is true.
Wow, Melanie Griffith.
That's it. I could picture. I couldn't think of the name. I mean, there's no way that he would watch this, so I'm going to say yes. Yes, I did do that, she admitted, before quickly adding, it was many, many years ago. While she did not divulge the name of the friend or the ex, Johnson did reveal how she bought and shipped the gift to his house.
I mean, you could order anything on the internet.
You can. This is called poopsenders.com.
Nice. Don't put it out with your boot.
You can order any kind, any size, she said. You can mail cow poop, elephant poop, gorilla poop. You can even make it a combo to anyone in the world for varying price points.
Yeah, it's like at Garrett's, they can mix it up.
Yeah.
Or you can get the individual popcorns.
They sell Garrett's at Hy-Vee now.
They do.
Saw that this week.
Yeah.
My best friend got her heart broken, and I sent bleep to the man's house.
Way to go. Dakota Johnson sounds like a good friend.
Yeah. I sent a gallon of gorilla bleep to his house.
Poop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Thank you, Dakota Johnson.
Yeah.
It's about time somebody steps up for their friends. When I say Dakota Johnson, what do you think is her crown jewel? Like what did she act in? What is she known for?
I say that she's probably most known for the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy,
which I never saw, for the record. Unbonk.
They're hilariously bad. Like,
oh really? They're bad?
They're a fun bad movie. Like, the two have absolutely zero chemistry,
Really?
but are constantly doing
And then so this
monstrous things to each other.
So that like set off a whole like she was kind of like a sex icon for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. She's a very attractive woman.
Yeah, of
Like,
course.
yeah.
Kind of crazy.
And then she did Madam Web.
She was in Madam Web. Yeah.
Which
she was in The Social Network.
That's right. She was.
She was in 21 Jump Street.
She was in that one episode of The Office.
She was in that one episode of The Office, and that would have been my answer. I'm dead serious. That would have been my answer. We play the game like how white and normal are you?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, what do you know her from? The one episode of The Office. That
would be a very white and also very normal answer.
She was in the finale.
Yeah.
Of The Office.
They brought in like yet another round of interns, and she was one of them.
There you go. Josh,
Connor,
thanks.
You're welcome.
That is indeed the odd news. The noon hour is coming up. Steve Sipple will join us at the bottom of the hour. We have plenty to get to here on a Friday on 1620 The Zone.
He gives you the latest sports news, interviews, and life-changing commentary with a smile on his face. Because he wears those ticklish underpants.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, Josh. Show people your dog. Show people your dogs.
Yeah?
Yeah, let the dogs out. What people say? Judge Josh's dog.
Hot dog. Yeah, I put ketchup on it. I don't care. You can mad cod. I don't care.
Okay, I'm going to. I'm glad you don't care because I was going to.
That's fine.
It's ridiculous. You're a child. Grow up.
It's quite literally the only thing I put ketchup on.
Okay, that makes it a little bit better. Although it is the most sacrilegious thing to put ketchup on.
That's fair.
The only thing I put ketchup, I'm super anti-ketchup. The only thing I put ketchup on is a hamburger.
Oh, yeah. I guess that would.
Because you just dump all the sauces on there and it's like it doesn't even matter anymore. You know?
Whatever. I go to the place, whatever they put on it. Yeah. Unless they put mayo. I don't.
You're out on mayo on a burger?
Stop putting mayo on your burgers.
Interesting.
Hey, I'd like some more fat on this.
I don't mind it as a base. What are you, John Bishop? Slime?
No, not at all.
Okay. So I went on a show in Kansas City last week, and the last question that they asked me was, "What?" I don't know where this. They must have been having an argument. I was given no context. They're like, "What do you put on your hot dog?" And it was. I said one line: anything but ketchup, which is true. Anything but ketchup. Mm-hmm. And I kind of knew that that's probably what they wanted to hear.
Definitely.
Anyway, so it was a good situation for me. And they were like, yeah, they were like, okay, perfect. You're a friend of the show now. So Josh, I'm a friend of that show.
Wow, congratulations.
I'm excited. But if I would have been you, and if I would have said, oh my God, goo goo gaga, I love ketchup, they would have said, I hate you. Never come back.
And then I would have said, Patrick Mahomes does it. Do you hate Patrick Mahomes?
Oh, good one.
And they would have been like,
Great question. They were freaking out about Cags. So much so that they had me on 2 days in a row. Now that I think they're over it because he's like 1 out of 15.
That's right. But the team is hitting better.
But the team is hitting. So they had that discussion on the broadcast last night. Ryan, I think it was Ryan brought it up late in the second game. He was like, and I knew what HUD's answer was going to be. But Ryan was like, hey, I know he's not hitting right now, and I know he only has one hit. It's not that he's not hitting. He just only has one hit. And he struck out very quickly in this at-bat.
He's making contact.
But he was like, is it a coincidence that the Royals are hitting and he is here? Does his presence make a difference? And I knew what HUD's answer was going to be. Oh, yeah. Of course it makes a difference. It's an interesting conversation to have. Like, does the presence, does the energy that you get from bringing up a top prospect in your organization who has the cachet that he does actually intangibly make a difference to your lineup and to the rest of your team? I think there's some truth to that. A lot of moves in baseball are, I mean, they're not for functional reasons. It's trying to keep everybody's mentals right. I mean, speaking of St. Louis, I mean, when the Royals went to St. Louis, it was about June or July. There's this infamous Royals game when they were on the path to becoming good again. It was in 2013 or something like that. And game gets rain delayed, doesn't start until late. And that very day that they had fired their hitting coach. Mm-hmm. And they brought in George Brett. They're like, what's the easiest thing we could do to win some points back with our fan base? Bring in George Brett to be basically our honorary hitting coach.
He's their Tom Osborne.
Uh-huh. And they won this game and like comeback epic fashion and whatever. And then they kind of, they felt like, all right, this is actually working. It was getting very close to being like, all right, this whole plan that we've been doing for the last 5 years, it ain't working. We might have to turn it in at this point. And so I think there is something to that in baseball. You bring up that guy, you put him in the lineup, whether or not he's producing is one thing, but he adds some sort of like an intangible, effect on the people around them. And it's like, this guy's here, and it just gives everybody some new life. Whatever you could do during the season to give a jolt to your team, you can only push those buttons so many times during a season, but you do have to push them at the right times.
Right. That's a real thing in baseball.
100%. It's a grind. It's a grind of a season. That's like us during the College World Series. Sometimes you got to push the button. At some point, you got to push a button. When's it going to be?
Right time.
Is it after the first day? Probably not. Is it after the fourth day? Maybe. Hokie Segura has been killing cags all day long. Hokie Segura has been trying to get under my nerves about the whole cags thing.
Can't do it.
Hokie Segura, you got to understand, I don't care that he's hitting 077. I don't care that he's hitting 077 because I know that he's not going to hit 077. This is just
that will not be his lifetime average.
Yes, put it on the list.
Okay.
077 will not be Jack Caglianone's lifetime batting average.
They're 2-1 as a team with him.
That's what I'm talking about. And eventually he'll be fine.
And
I don't know how good of a player he's going to be
this weekend.
He's going to be fine. Yeah. Yeah. The White Sox, who will be under new ownership in like 5 to 8 years.
That's right. Assuming Jerry Reinsdorf lives that long.
A thing here, Josh.
Yeah.
You brought this headline to my attention a few minutes ago.
Oh.
Remember Ari Wasserman, friend of everybody, Ari Wasserman?
We love the Ari man.
Well, now we love him even more.
Interesting.
So Ari Wasserman does the clickbait on 3 headline from a couple weeks ago that sent everybody into a frenzy, right? The
40-team playoff. What an idiot.
Yeah, the aggregated, that whole thing with the On3 account. And then he was like, oh, by the way, did you read the column? Like he did the whole thing to a T. And guess what? Ari Wasserman has released an article today. He releases many articles.
Did you read it?
Well, I'm reading it right now.
Oh, okay.
But it says this. Sleeper Big Ten SEC teams that could shake up the college football playoff race in 2025.
How many teams are in this playoff?
This specific playoff, there's only 14.
Okay.
No, there's 12. I'm sorry. There's 12. Right? Isn't there 12 teams in the playoff that we have right now? Yes, there's 12.
I don't
know. No, there
know,
is. There's 12. Sorry. There's 12. So this is a 12-team playoff. And guess who was named on the potential sleeper teams from the Big Ten that could shake up the race? Nebraska.
Oh.
12-team playoff, Josh. Not 40, but 12. He says Nebraska quarterback Dylan Raiola was so hyped at this time last year, there has almost been an overcorrection of how much we're talking about him now. He had a very productive true freshman season. And with the sophomore jump, Raiola still has a chance to be a star in this sport. Matt Rule also has a long history of building programs and assembling functional rosters, which was something that was missing in Lincoln during the Scott Frost era. Though CFP contention probably seems premature in this spot, crazier things have happened, especially considering the Cornhuskers don't have, and then H and A and have were in the wrong direction. On3 really needs a copy editor. A big-time non-con game to potentially bog down their record. They don't have that this year. Ari Wasserman.
Interesting. They don't have that, and Ari sees that as a plus.
Trying to get back in the good graces of you all. Are you letting him in?
You going to let him manipulate you? Gaslight you?
Did he earn back any points with what he just said about Dylan?
I like the things he's saying. Makes me feel good.
Okay. But what do we think about Ari? Is he back? He's canceled for what he said about Nebraska, a few weeks ago.
It's really difficult.
Is he back now because he mentioned Nebraska in this conversation? He also mentioned Illinois, Washington, and Iowa from the Big Ten as potential college football playoff sleepers. What's the case for Iowa, by the way?
That they're Iowa?
No, but like if you're making a case for them to make the playoff, it's either they're mega Iowa, like they're fully blown Iowa, or you're going to do the thing that people like to say about them is, hey, maybe the offense is kind of good this year. And if they just got that right, who knows what the ceiling is for this program. Let's see which direction he goes. When you think about Iowa football, you think about laughably bad offense and great defense. Oh, I can tell which direction he's going. It seems to be the same there every single year. But guess what? Iowa brought in quarterback Mark Gronowski from South Dakota State. If you haven't watched his tape, do it. The Hawkeyes have a chance at a semi-explosive offense.
Hello.
With a healthy Gronowski at the helm. It's a borderline lock that the Hawkeyes will have an elite defense. Dare to dream.
They do have 3 ranked opponents. They do have all 3 of those at Kinnick.
At home. Watch out.
Oh, I'm sorry. They have 4 ranked teams.
Yeah, Indiana still is ranked, aren't they?
I didn't have Iowa State in my window.
That's right.
I'd scrolled down too far. I'm sorry.
Watch out. That offense could be not bad.
Semi-great, I believe is what he said.
I believe it was semi-explosive. Semi-explosive. Yes, could be. All right. Good question for Platcat. Would you rather have a Nebraska makes the playoff ticket plus 900 or sandwich? Basically, we're saying, how would you spend your $10? A sandwich, which you get now.
Right now, you get to enjoy
and
it.
It's delicious. And you could, let's just say you could customize it however you'd like. A sandwich of your choosing.
I have a hot dog.
It costs $10. It's better than a hot dog. A sandwich is better than a hot dog.
Thought I could trip you up.
You could spend $10. You might lose the entirety of the $10, or you might get $90.
You could buy many sandwiches with $90. I could buy a sandwich for my friends.
But you'd have to wait a long time. No, you'd get $90. You have to wait a little while, and you might get $0. What do you think?
I might take a flyer here.
Really? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really? You love sandwiches, Josh.
I do love sandwiches. Yeah, I might take a little flyer.
That is fascinating.
This might be a play. It feels like a long shot, but
I would take the sandwich in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah, I'd give me the sandwich.
No faith.
I mean,
I'm the guy who always bleeps on the program.
I mean, that they might make the playoff, but unlikely. And I'm just playing the math here. Like, I think I value sandwiches at more than $10 anyway. So like,
I do too.
Like I value a sandwich close to like $50.
Yeah,
a really good sandwich. That one I had in Atlanta 2 years ago.
You're gonna want to have.
I'd pay $50 for that sandwich.
You're gonna want to have a playoff party, and you're like, maybe a party sub, and you're not gonna have the money for it. I will.
That's true. You could serve a lot of people with that party sub.
Mm-hmm.
From the text line, Jeff writes in.
Hi, Jeff.
I don't really listen to any national media that talks about Nebraska. I just assume that they're clickbaiting. Yeah, well, people got to do their, we got stuff to talk about, Everything's clickbait if you choose to view it through that prism, to be honest.
If Illinois,
this whole show is clickbait,
suffers a massive setback,
we want
injury,
you to click.
Maybe Nebraska could be the team that creeps up and gets that 4th automatic qualifier.
No,
position.
That's not happening.
I heard it was.
It's not happening this year at all.
I heard it was.
And it might not be happening ever. Actually, I would say it's probably not happening ever.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But really would have helped Nebraska.
Definitely not this year. Definitely not this year. Mike writes in.
Hi, Mike.
I'm going to start selling sandwiches at NRG Media Omaha. You have no idea, guys.
I am telling you, if you started doing this,
I would buy a sandwich from you every day. If we had a sandwich making station in this building, but in order to fund it, you have to sell a certain amount of sandwiches that cost like $20 a sandwich.
We got to do volume here. If
I
we're
would
gonna,
I would
yeah.
buy a $20 sandwich from here, like a lot.
If you're gonna
like
stand,
more than I'm probably willing to, like probably twice a week. $20 sandwich twice a week when I could just bring my own lunch or eat beforehand or get a Uncrustable.
I don't want that.
No, I would buy the $20 sandwich. I want the sandwich.
If you were to stand in our parking lot and sell sandwiches, here's what would happen.
Yeah.
I would try my longest to not buy a sandwich.
Yeah.
I might get a whole week without buying a sandwich. But once I bought that first sandwich, no matter what the price, I would come back and yes, like Connor, buy 2 or 3 a week.
Yep. So could be worth it. Just stand out there.
Business opportunity.
And just stand out there.
A real niche. I mean, you're also on Dodge Street. It's a great location.
That's true. There's a lot of activity out there, depending on the day.
The hot yoga class gets out. They're going to want a sandwich.
Yeah, there's a guy with a shirt off in our parking lot yesterday.
Oh, hello.
I didn't notify you of that, but it was happening.
Wow.
That was one of the yoga guys.
Oh, is the yoga guy?
One of the yoga guys.
There's 2 types of shirtless people that could be in the parking lot.
That's true. It was one of the yoga guys. Josh, I'd like to draw your attention to John Rothstein.
The basketball guy.
Yeah.
The tweeter.
Yeah. John Rothstein.
A less fun John Fanta.
John Rothstein added to his, what the kids call generational run.
I'm familiar with that term.
Yesterday. So while the whole Elon Trump thing was happening yesterday on Twitter.
Love died yesterday.
Which I mostly avoided because I blocked Elon simply because I didn't want to see his tweets on my For You page anymore because they were just happening way too much. So I just blocked them. And
it's like that U2 album nobody wanted. It was nothing against U2. It was it being forced upon us.
I saw a lot of people talking about this yesterday, but I never really saw what it was until later. And sure enough, right next to the Elon tweet that said, "Time to drop a really big bomb."
Careful.
And that's it. I'm not going to, there was another part of that tweet, but I'm not going to read it. Sure enough, there was a John Rothstein tweet that said, "Source, Iona and Fordham will begin a home and home series on November 14th in New Rochelle."
What an unfortunate time to break that story, John.
I mean, he doesn't even know that the rest of it is happening, to be honest with you. It's almost as good. So this is the most famous one. Remember when DeMar Hamlin died? And then came back
field?
Came back to life?
That happened.
So there must have been a college basketball game going on at the time. This was late in the season, right? Wasn't it November, December, January?
Yeah.
Right? So everyone was like, "Oh my God, they're administering CPR in the field right now. Like, this is a real problem. We might not play the rest of this game. What's going to happen?" In the middle of all that, while DeMar Hamlin is laying on the field and being resuscitated, John Rothstein did one of his classic, "Grab your nitroglycerin pills," in response to a college basketball game that was happening at the time.
You got to open up your world a little bit, man.
Dude, I mean, it's unreal.
Is that tweet up? Are there replies to it?
I mean, you would have
not now, man.
You would have too much searching to do, but if you did the advanced search for whatever day DeMar Hamlin died and then came back with a Rothstein tweet, you'd probably find it. And it had at the time that it was screenshotted and put back. I don't know when it was screenshotted, but at the time it was screenshotted, it had 140 responses. It was being ratioed pretty good.
What? Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much he says that phrase.
Oh yeah, he says it probably every game for everything. Yeah. So that's what's going on in John Rothstein's world.
That guy's good.
There's no.
He's annoying.
It's not a bit. This is not even a bit at all for him. So people will tweet at him and be like, "Wow, John, I love how committed you are to this." And he's like, "What are you talking about? I love college basketball and I'm thinking about college basketball all the time." Like he went on the shows and was like, hey, I got to find a way to plan my wedding around, to make sure that no college basketball news is happening during the time. And, maybe we'll stop over and see some guys overseas, while we do our honeymoon and stuff like that. Yeah. He's actually about that life.
Okay, so during the Auburn-Alabama kick 6,
Okay.
he tweeted, "Wow, tough call. Marshall Henderson fouled shooting 3. Looked like a clean block." The audio of Donald Sterling was the topic on Twitter.
Okay.
And he tweeted, "Vintage Saturday breakfast at Pamela's in Pittsburgh. 6 pancakes, 6 egg whites. Off the charts!"
And what was happening while that was happening?
Audio of Donald Sterling was leaking.
Okay.
When President
That's not even a college basketball tweet, though.
No, that's just a I love breakfast tweet. When President T announced his 2016 presidential campaign, Penn State transfer Geno Thorpe told CBS Sports he will visit USF, St. Joe's, Butler, and Nevada.
What about when Trump got COVID? Did he do a tweet for that? Because people were recounting the best days on Twitter yesterday, and for some reason we just forget about the llama.
Yes, when the llama was loose.
I didn't see the llama in anybody's top 5 yesterday. Shocking to me.
Recency bias.
Yeah.
During what year would what number Super Bowl would 2016 have been?
Oh God, I have no idea what this year's Super Bowl was.
During the Super Bowl of 2016, he said, "Mitch Ballack is committed to Creighton."
5-star Mitch
Big
Ballack.
time shooter. Good get for the Jays.
Black Cat said he tweeted about Mitch Ballack's commitment during the 2016 Super Bowl.
During the wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
There we go.
Most underappreciated aspect of Nova's run the last 5 years, going 32-4 and earning a 1 seed when Omari Spellman was ineligible and Phil Booth was injured.
I was thinking that exact same thing during the wedding.
While the Notre Dame was on fire. Not Notre Dame, the church.
Yeah.
Source, Fordham will host Bryant as part of its 1920 non-conference schedule.
So he's kind of like the Nick Castellanos
a little bit
of tweets, but it's different.
Just partially related to the tweets of yesterday. When we found, sadly, that Jeffrey Epstein had died, he tweeted, "Joe Dooley will bring in 11 new players next season at ECU."
Just good factoids from John Rothstein. So you got to make sure to be on your toes at any point in time. You could be getting some college basketball breaking news.
There's an events he didn't tweet during section. Not going to read those, by the way. News events in which he did tweet but offered condolences.
Oh, wow. Not many of those.
This guy's plugged in, man.
Yeah, that's a one thing.
Thank you, Platt Cat, for tipping me off to a website. I don't know if this was the website, but it was a very helpful tool.
All right, we'll take a break. Steve Sipple is coming up next on 1620 The Zone. I got a message last week from a listener after we talked to Sipple. Let me try and find it here. It was something along the lines of, I'll read it exactly. This is at about 2:30 last Friday. I imagine you're gutted knowing Sipple's best interview was on your show while you were gone. Is this true, Josh? Do you think it was Sipple's best work last week?
Well, we had a host in Austin who
he gets it. He absolutely gets it.
He gets it, and he was willing to
he went there.
I don't care if I look stupid in asking Sipple these questions.
I love that.
Do you know who Sydney Sweeney is?
Uh-huh.
He, of course, had no clue who that was. Go ahead.
Do I believe him? I'm not.
Then we asked him questions about what kind of soap he uses.
Yeah, and he was big on the Mando thing.
Big Mando, and you tipped us off too that's an endorsement deal, which makes sense.
Pretty sure that's
because I had Sip locked in as I have no idea. I just use whatever's in the shower.
Yeah.
So I was shocked that he knew the brand. There was other stuff too, non-soap related stuff.
I haven't listened to it,
and God, I can't remember any of it right now.
Non-soap related stuff.
He did have to step out into the stairwell.
Okay, that's good.
And I don't remember the reasoning, but he said something to the effect of, "It's called a stairwell."
I love that guy. As you can tell, he has not answered his phone, which means he will probably text me in a matter of minutes and say, "Hey, can I do 12:45?" So just be prepared for that.
He also had trail mix takes.
Oh yeah.
He's tired of peanut companies just putting M&Ms into their bag of nuts and calling it trail mix.
Wait. Say that take again.
He's tired of nut companies like Planters and other companies like that just putting M&Ms into the bag and calling it trail mix.
Good take. Damn, that's good.
He's over the convenience stores.
He's over convenience stores?
He just wants a bottle of water and to keep moving down the road. He doesn't want all the things. There's too many things at the convenience stores.
He's the one who hangs out at a truck stop all day long. By the way, I have received a text. We will not be joined by Steve Sipple today.
Oh, no.
I'll read it to you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, no go, freak show central here.
Oh.
I don't know where here is. Hopefully not at Husker Online, or hopefully not anywhere.
It's got to be the 7-on-7, right?
Freak show central. Sipple's a no-go today.
Sad. I get it, though.
Speaking of college basketball.
Hoops?
Yeah. I just got a little bit on this. You see this? Alabama putting more fuel to the flame of the greatest rivalry in college basketball and hiring Creighton's Marcus Zagorowski as a GA. You see this?
What's our counter move?
This is unbelievable. We have to go get like Trevor Relaford or something like that. We got to go get a guy. I don't know. Look up the roster from when Creighton beat him in the NCAA tournament in like 2012, and we'll hire anybody off that team. Relaford was the guy who missed the shot because it was defended by Josh Jones at the end of that game. But I think we got to go hire him. I think we got to go steal somebody from their backyard.
Andrew Steele, Trevor Lacey.
Good. Any of those guys. Keep going.
Charles Hankerson Jr.
Yeah, love it. We need him.
Nick Jacobs.
Yeah.
Jermichael Green, we coming for you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Levi Randolph.
Yep.
You said Trevor. Andrew Steele, Trevor Lacey. Rodney Cooper.
Okay.
Rodney.
Yeah, I think we go take Trevor Relford, and we just hire some guy that Alabama fans really love. He might not be everybody else's guy, but he's our guy. I don't know where the list of those people would be, because that's kind of Marcus Zagorowski. And he didn't have a lot of national headlines. Obviously he was a really, really good player, but we loved Marcus Zagorowski because Marcus Zagorowski was a killer. He was a stone cold assassin. out there in the basketball court. Not a big guy. He was our guy. Right? I can't believe they hired him.
This is ultimate disrespect.
It is. It is. And I know he has a close relationship with Preston Murphy and
I don't care about that.
And all that stuff. But yeah, not good.
Duke ain't hiring North Carolina boys.
I hope they play each other in the Mega NIL tournament this year.
Mm-hmm. Michigan ain't hiring Buckeyes.
It's the same thing.
Except that one guy.
It's yeah. It's the same thing, Josh. Creighton, Alabama, the greatest rivalry in college basketball that we have.
Right. They're that school down south to us.
Yeah. That's what we should call them.
That's right.
Creighton beat them. Creighton beat Alabama in Omaha 2 years ago. Alabama beat Creighton in Tuscaloosa.
Connor, we don't have time to list every game these two have played against each other.
They've
played 37 times the last 3 years.
No, they've only played twice.
Feels like more.
They've only played 3 times in the last 15. I'm pretty sure. If you can find the Winsipedia on that.
Just go to Rob Anderson's website.
Go Creighton.com.
That's right. 3-1 Creighton is against Alabama.
Beat them in the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. Beat them in Omaha. Lost to them in Tuscaloosa. And then there must have been another one in the 70s or something.
2011, 2012 in Greensboro.
Yep, that's the NCAA tournament.
2015, 2016.
Oh, they played him in the NIT.
Yeah.
They played him.
Does not have a site listed.
Yeah. They played him in the NIT.
Got to update that website, Rob. And then the home game in Omaha and the road game in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, good one. Thank you, Mike. 2016 NIT. So John, look at this. John is all over. John is a hater of basketball, and he emails into the show.
Hi, John.
Didn't the Zagorowski hire happen several days ago? Well, John Walker had said that he reported it, but I missed it for whatever reason. I just saw it float around on Twitter last night, so that's why I brought it up to the show. Anyway, there was a Creighton basketball video yesterday. Did you see that?
I saw a video. I didn't stop everything I was doing and watch it.
What? Why not?
It's June 6th.
That's ridiculous, Josh. That's no excuse.
Was it to the music of This Is Budweiser?
There was no music really at all.
Well, then I'm not interested.
Maybe just some background stuff. I can't really hear it right now. Al Huss was in it.
Power? Was Power in
No,
it?
Power was not in it.
Okay.
You remember Al Huss?
The Huss Bus?
Yep.
Yeah.
Blake Harper, he's shooting it. Owen Freeman, dunking it. Josh Dix, shooting it. Jason Green, clapping. Ty Davis, clapping. Schwartz, whatever his name is, from Miami, he was in there.
We got time to learn.
No Fedor, though. People are wondering about where Fedor is.
There's a lot of people in Fedor's situation.
Yeah, and they all get eligibility somehow, but not Fedor for some reason.
They have eligibility, but they can't physically get here.
Oh, very
because somebody said no mas.
So there you go. That's what's going on with Creighton basketball right now. In case you were wondering,
this is ultimate disrespect that will not stand. Someone needs
It's
to
a shot fired.
defend the tiny Jesuit Creighton University.
Yep.
Being attacked by the big bully.
It is
Alabama
100%
basketball.
a shot fired.
Yeah.
So we got to go hire somebody.
We see you.
Yep. Keep that in mind going forward. All right, we'll be back after this right at the hour here on 1620 The Zone. return on Monday, Josh will have a College World Series field. Can you believe it?
Well, maybe.
Actually, good point. Yes,
We'll know a lot of it.
There will probably be some super regionals still finishing up on Monday. 4 supers start today.
There better be.
4 start on Saturday. And so here they are. Arizona, North Carolina, game 1 going on right now. North Carolina's up 10-2.
I got a hunch which way that one's going.
Yeah. I for the record, I would have picked North Carolina anyway, but that helps a little bit. Miami and Louisville starts at 2. I believe that'll be the Mike Farron special this weekend.
Hello.
Florida State at Oregon State. That starts 5 o'clock today. Coastal Carolina at Auburn. That starts at 8 o'clock tonight. Those are all on ESPN2 for the record. And then tomorrow, the Super start with Murray State at Duke at noon, West Virginia LSU at 1, Tennessee at Arkansas at 4, and UTSA and UCLA at 6. And then, of course, the game 2s in the other series are going to be spread in intermittently throughout the day as well. So here we go. Pick your Omaha 8. Pick your Omaha 8. We'll go super by super.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
North Carolina or Arizona?
I'm going North Carolina.
I agree. Miami or Louisville?
Louisville.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that one, but for the sake of us not agreeing, I'm just going to say Miami because I think that'd be cooler. Let's get Miami.
It would.
Get Miami going. Florida State at Oregon State.
Just a gut thing here, FSU.
FSU. Now, I will say this. I like hanging out and talking with Link Jarrett. Me and Link Jarrett, total bros.
Go way back.
We go way back to his Notre Dame days. But give me. I know Oregon State has been largely it's been a unique challenge for them this year. They only played like 20-some home games, and they traveled all across the country and just trying to find series. But I think it's a bit of a tough road trip. Now, Florida State's going to have Jamie Arnold and pitch one of those games. Give me Oregon State to come out of the Corvallis Regional. Coastal Carolina at Auburn.
Chanticleer shocked the world.
Yeah, I like that too. I'm more rooting for that than anything. Auburn's cool, but I have no problem with Auburn.
Maybe Barkley comes. He's got free time.
But give me Coastal. He does. Well,
he's working NBA TV this week.
Murray State and Duke. One of Murray State or Duke will be in the College World Series, Josh.
Let's the dream dies.
No.
Duke, it's Duke.
Boo.
I hate it, but it's Duke.
Give me the Jacers. West Virginia at LSU.
As the mayor of this fine town, I cannot have a CWS without LSU.
Yeah.
Go Tigers.
We need that bad.
Yeah.
We need that real bad.
Gonna feel a lot different.
Given the teams that we have chosen so far, yeah, we're gonna need that one real bad. And I agree. I think LSU gets over the hump against West Virginia, who's been a very confusing team to figure out. Struggled at the end of the regular season and then rolled through their regional. Tennessee and Arkansas, fireworks.
So many runs will be scored this weekend.
An absurd amount of runs. Even though the pitching is really, really good on both sides. I mean, we're going to see Liam Doyle and Zach Root just go toe-to-toe in game 1 tomorrow.
I like that.
Yeah, it's good.
Arkansas is the best team in this field. Give me the Hogs.
I agree. Dave Van Horn, does it get it done in Omaha? We'll find out. UTSA and UCLA.
I need my units for the big.
Oh, come on.
Go Bruins.
You sicko. That's disgusting.
Units.
That's gross.
Don't see any Big East teams in here.
Give me the Roadrunners. Watch out. Meep, meep.
Now, is that a head or a heart pick?
Those dudes are good.
I mean, they beat Texas twice.
Oh, those dudes are legit.
They did not get weasel wins on their way into this thing.
I wouldn't be surprised if they went out there and they just smoked UCLA. 2 games. See you later.
I would like the Big Ten to be represented in this field.
Corey writes in on Twitter, Happer ruining what to watch. Yeah.
I only have the today's games in here. I can't list every single game.
Well, there's only 4 more. Anyway, there you go. There's our Omaha 8. Is it fun? Not as fun as it has been. Not as fun as it has been.
That Saturday night game, though, huh?
But we got some really good players. We're gonna have some really good players. North Carolina's got a bunch of really good players. If they end up making it, either one of Florida State or Oregon State will have really good players. LSU's got a few. Arkansas, Tennessee. You know, there is a scenario where this is like, whoa, what happened? But there's a scenario where it has the flavor of the last couple of years. There you go. There is the College World Series. Enjoy the Supers this weekend if that is your style.
That is my style.
Me too. On the Women's College World Series side, did you see the ratings that they put out for the for Game 1?
Almost beat the Stanley Cup Finals, right?
Correct.
Is that what I read?
Almost 3 million people. The most watched Women's College World Series Game 1 ever. 2.1 million viewers for Texas Tech and Texas in the first game. The 5th most watched college softball game ever on ESPN platforms. Up 11% from 2024 Game 1 and peaked at 2.8 million viewers. I haven't seen the numbers came up for Game 2, but of course, Texas and Texas Tech split that first game, and Game 3 is coming up tomorrow. Let me get a time. Josh, do you have a time? I'm sorry. Yeah, I shouldn't have said
6:45 pregame on 1620 The Zone, 7 o'clock.
Tonight at 7 o'clock. And this thing is gonna break records.
Oh, definitely.
This is gonna be the most watched women's college softball game of all time.
You're gonna have Big Bad Texas trying to win their first game, the first championship against Patrick Mahomes and the $1 million pitcher who has pitched every pitch for the Red Raiders in this championship series and will continue to do so tonight.
Did you hear Patty Gasso's thing about how they should not play doubleheaders in the winter bracket, like basically the bracket championship games? Same thing in the regional format, like in baseball and softball.
I don't like that in the regionals, and yeah I guess that makes sense.
100%.
But in the Women's College World Series, they do double headers instead of an if necessary day.
Now in softball, it's traditionally, and I guess this is her point. Softball has traditionally been a sport where you play like 3 games in a day or 4 games.
Not unheard of.
Like, no, it's not. It's not the craziest thing in the world. You just go to a location and just rip off as many games as you can because they don't take very long. Or they take shorter, I guess, than baseball games. It doesn't take as long as baseball games. And her point was like, hey, this is like a professional deal. We're trying to get the best, make the best TV product and all of these things. We can't be playing 2 games in one day in the actual College World Series. And she's got a great point, to be honest with you. But with that being said, if you need to get the games in, you need to get the games in.
So she has a point, but I think she also has an ulterior motive there in that, hey, I'm sorry, I don't know her name, the $1 million pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to throw her out there every single day, but I can't do it 2 times in one day. You're prohibiting me from winning the most amount of games because I can't trot my ace out there every single game.
Jari Kennedy.
I'm going to trust you said that correctly.
I did. Well, I got it right one of those times.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back after this. 1 o'clock hour coming up on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
Hello? There we
Hello.
go. Did you hear me the first time?
Nope.
Okay. Welcome back. Friday on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. So today, there was some, I saw there was some buzz online about how today was the day that Michigan was going to be seen in front of the Committee on Infractions.
Yes.
On their whole deal today. So I was reading about the process here from the Detroit News.
No cameras or media allowed.
Yeah, it's really odd. Michigan officials, lawyers, football coaches are preparing for the next step of a secretive NCAA process, a 2-day Committee on Infractions hearing that will likely in the next 8 to 12 weeks reveal the punishments from an investigation to an alleged illegal scouting sign stealing scheme launched October 19th, 2023. Committee on Infractions hearings used to be the norm, but in the last decade, the NCAA has made clear its preference to reach a more amicable negotiated resolutions process with universities and officials, or universities and individuals, thus avoiding this much longer process. Michigan's COI hearing that begins today is the first since Tennessee's in 2023, and several lawyers with experience involving the NCAA shared with the Detroit News how the COI process unfolds and what is to be expected. And so there's just a lot of, I don't know, it's a very odd situation. I thought when people were talking about this online, they were like, oh, we're going to get a resolution on this today. We're finally going to figure this out. Okay, what's the punishment here for Michigan? No.
You would think.
No.
Connor Stallions was there.
Connor Stallions is being seen before the court.
He was there today. All the scribes, they can't go into the courtroom, so they're just waiting in the parking lot and taking pictures, which is apparently allowed.
Is there going to be courtroom sketches on this stuff?
Oh, maybe. Good idea.
Is it actually in a court, or is it on a Zoom, or something like that? By the way, I listened to a podcast with a friend of the show, Scott Docterman. He was on, oh boy, what was it last night?
Joe Rogan.
No, I didn't listen to Joe Rogan. It was the Solid Verbal, which is a college football podcast.
Sounds like a lot of recruiting.
I don't think it's about recruiting. I think it's just one of those phrases.
Oh, okay.
You know, like unsportsmanlike conduct. What's that? Just something that people say.
Sports. It's clearly about sports.
Oh. So he went on that podcast, Docterman did, and he explained, you know, hopefully he explained it in a little bit more detail, like the draft. It's easier for me to hear this instead of read it because my eyes kind of glaze over when I read it, simply because there's not any real like official way to do this, right? So what you're trying to explain is, well, sometimes they do this and sometimes they do this. And Docterman really relayed the idea that this is kind of pretty informal and they're all, you know, the networks and their representatives are on, they're emailing each other.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they're emailing each other this entire time about what pick is next and if they want to trade and all the things of that nature, which is really, really funny. And it does give off the vibe of like, oh, this is super informal and you guys have no rules whatsoever. And so we always talk about every year, oh my God, they should put it on TV. They should make a TV event out of this. If they were the SEC, they would have already made a TV event out of this years and years ago. While that is true, they would have made an event about this if they were in the SEC years and years and years ago. It further drove home the idea that we are nowhere close to this being a television product because they don't want to give away the secrets that they have to the other networks and things like that. And then they also, it involves a lot of talking about the individual programs and the value that they bring to the table in terms of what they are from a television product perspective. Like, right? You're trying to kind of get each program down to a number of value.
Exactly.
Right? What is their value? And is it greater than, is them plus another program that they're playing on any given day greater than program C versus program D? Right? So the networks probably don't want the individual programs and the universities to hear like, oh, you guys are worth less to me than Ohio State, which they are. They all are, for the record.
You got to know that to some extent.
Yeah.
But it still hurts to hear.
Yeah. Right. So that was cool. That was podcast listening over the last few hours. But the big news yesterday was in the NFL. Josh, you never got to talk about this. We mentioned it briefly on the crossover yesterday. Aaron Rodgers signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers finally. And will inevitably and undoubtedly rehabilitate his image and take them to the Super Bowl.
That doesn't seem possible in any way, shape, or form.
I don't think so either. So 1-year deal. And if you're Joey, you predicted this months and months ago.
That's right.
That he would sign in June. This is more than 80 days since the start of free agency and 70 days after Rodgers, 41, visited the Steelers. Adam Schefter reports that Rodgers will fly to Pittsburgh today and join the Steelers ahead of next week's mandatory minicamp. Are these two a match made in heaven or a match made in hell?
Well, if those are my only two options.
Is there only two ways this goes? I mean, there's obviously a lot of different ways to get to where you're going, but generally it's either a disaster or it works in a situation like this.
I mean, this is Hakeem Olajuwon on the Raptors, right? This is Patrick Ewing on the Magic. Like, this is the team you're going to forget that Aaron Rodgers played for 10, 20 years from now.
That's not a disaster.
Right.
That's not a disaster.
I mean, I think they're probably going to be middle of the pack. Like, what is it now? You'd be 8 and 9, 9 and 8.
Yeah.
There's no 8 and 8 anymore.
Correct. So Jeff Fisher is very sad about that.
That's right. So, I mean, I think they're just going to be middle of the road. He's probably going to be told to talk less, which is interesting.
So that's the part that I'm wondering about, because for years and years and years, all this has been like, it's just been, they're going to be right around 500, and Tomlin has taken a bunch of teams that probably shouldn't have been in that position and are contending for a playoff spot late in the season. There's been more examples than that than underperforming and being 9 and 8 or 8 and 9 or 500 or 8 and 8, whatever it might be. So there's this that when you talk about the Steelers, there's always this culture that comes up. This culture of being sort of a quiet type of team. Obviously, from a football perspective, it's defensive and it's steel curtain and it's tough, hard-nosed football and all that stuff. And no doubt about it, it's really hard to play there and late in the year when the weather's really bad. But they go about their business in a quiet manner, and their culture is really good. And they are kind of known for getting the most out of what they have. They've had that situation, and it kind of worked. It revived Russell Wilson a little bit. Justin Fields
did, yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess I did kind of forget that.
Place Aaron Rodgers into those exact shoes. He doesn't have the toxicity, quote unquote, of George Pickens anymore. He has DK Metcalf, who's, a proven wide receiver in the NFL at this point. They don't have an excellent running game, but they've been able to put it together with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren over the last couple of years. does Aaron Rodgers fit right in and, mix well with what they're trying to accomplish? Or is he too loud and too separate to the point where he throws off the chemistry of the culture in that locker room? That's the part that I'm more interested in. Like, how does his personality mix with that football team that has always been one way?
Yeah.
And he is not that.
He's going to do one of these summer interviews with Pat McAfee, I imagine.
He'll tell you he's that. He'll tell you.
I'm team guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why the obsession.
I don't know where
over
this.
me.
I don't know where this whole thing comes from.
I'm washed. You guys, don't you read the stories?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
washed. Why does everyone care about me? I'm a mid quarterback.
He will say that he's like, I'm actually the perfect Steelers guy.
Mhm.
I mean, I was a Packer forever.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Well, until the end, until it got kind of ugly.
Yeah.
Remember at the end, and then remember the entire thing with the Jets. That didn't go very well. There were circumstances that were beyond his control, but it didn't go very well. Right. So he will tell you that he's a perfect Steeler, and he will say, like, I can't wait to be in an organization that knows what they're doing and puts things around me and wants to win and has a coach that I trust and admire.
It's the first coach in a long time that he will not be able to steamroll.
Mm-hmm.
Because
does that help him or hurt him?
It has to help the Steelers, but hurt Aaron Rodgers, right?
I mean, you can make a case for the opposite.
I mean, I don't think he's going to get whatever he wants because he's a rental. They're not going to cut it, but they'll just deal with it.
So he thinks if you're signing Rodgers, if you're Aaron Rodgers and your brain is sort of warped, you are thinking, well, these guys are signing me because they want me to take them from 9-8 and 8-9 to the top of the division into the play and win a game in the playoffs and go to the AFC Championship game and stuff like that, which he ain't doing.
Right.
Have you seen the quarterbacks in the AFC? It's not happening. Have you seen the quarterbacks in his division?
Yeah.
It's not happening.
I have.
Right. But he thinks he's that. I think he thinks he's that. That was certainly his attitude watching Hard Knocks, last year.
Yeah. You got
and there was this kind of reverence to him. So, like, how he is framed and how he walks into that and how much humility he has or doesn't have when he walks into that locker room is super important. Like, super important. And I don't know. I don't know. He's kind of a wild card. He's kind of a wild card. He might say all the right things. And he might act all the right ways, but then when it's not going his way, things tend to fall off a cliff sharply for him.
Gets a little, the easiest word is whiny. That's not exactly what I mean, but like he doesn't seem to want to face the adversity anymore. No. Just give me what I want. I'll do a fine job for you. But also let me do whatever I want the whole time.
Which is the star treatment. But he's not going to, so there has to be an admittance from him that he is not what he used to be as a football player. And therefore.
Which that's hard, right?
Yeah. The Steelers can't afford to, sell out and try and.
No.
That's what the Jets did because the Jets were in an unwinnable situation. The Jets were the Jets.
The Jets can sell out for Aaron Rodgers because if it goes poorly, oh no, we're in the exact same spot we were. The Steelers aren't going to bottom out for 1 year of Aaron Rodgers.
So in order for him to, I would think, in order for him to take this spot, those type of conversations would have probably had to have been had. It's just, how far does he go along with it, and what does it look like?
Did he straight up lie in the interview, get to know you process?
Certainly possible.
Oh yes, I'm humble. I'm a changed man.
Yeah,
please
I've learned
give
a lot
me
of
millions
lessons.
of dollars.
I tell you what, when I was pretending that I wasn't injured last year and trying to get back to playing football randomly in the middle of the season, I learned a lot about myself.
I can understand not wanting it to end on the note that it ended with the Jets. Like, I ain't going out like that, but
I believe in the power of, I don't know what accent that is, but sometimes he talks in different ways.
Why does he want that? Why does he want to play more?
I don't know.
Like, I get it. Play till you can't because you only get so many chances, but like, He's got some. I think he's getting some bad advice from people.
There has to be an acceptance
Yeah.
from him that it's just not the same deal. With that being said, completely fascinated to see how it turns out. I really am.
Steelers fans are beside themselves.
Are they?
I think
this maybe.
I'm glad BC said what he said, because that's how a lot of Steelers fans, I believe, are going to feel. Like that first game-winning drive, you're going to be like, you know what?
But with that
All
being
right.
said, Josh, I'll tell you what. Like this might have been the best they could do.
Yeah, it was that or work a weird trade to get Kirk Cousins.
You're trying to do like a 1 year of something else.
Yeah.
But you have to hope. You have to hope that he doesn't poison you. You know what I mean? That he doesn't get the Rodgers stink all over you. Because look at the way he left. I mean, obviously, once again, circumstances he can't control. But look at how he left the Jets. I mean, it's in shambles.
Yeah.
Right? Fired coaches, people calling for front office and ownership and back channeling stories and stuff like that. Like, it's bad.
The new coach walked into a room with you and said, "You're not my quarterback.
Yeah.
Goodbye."
Right.
And that angered you.
And guess what? Week 1, Sunday afternoon, Scott Hansen says 7 hours of not commercial free football. And we go live to MetLife Stadium, where it's the Steelers and the Jets.
Justin Fields versus Aaron Rodgers
for kickoff of the 2025 NFL season. He's also got a game in, let's see, he's got week 2 there. They got Seattle at home, at New England, Minnesota, bye week.
They play the Packers in October.
Cleveland, Cincinnati, Packers in October, late October. That's Sunday Night Football, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. I looked through this. It's about what I thought: 8-9, 9-8.
There's some juicy stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to the Bears, who people forget he owns. In that's Thanksgiving week, I think.
Yes.
And there are some tough matchups in that division. I don't know how this is going to work, but can't wait to watch. I'm just glad that I'm a Rob Lowe NFL fan, and I just can just watch along and laugh at whatever happens. It's going to be fantastic.
It's one way to play it.
Yep. That's the way I'm going to continue to play it throughout my entirety, the entirety of my life. Because that Panthers thing didn't really click.
It didn't.
I really like their jerseys, but like I just, I can't do. It's just not. I can't do it. You can't like make a serious life change with a football team at this point. It's just too late.
I've
reached my capacity of sports, and it's just like I can't all of a sudden devote all this time and energy to one team.
Certainly not with like a fervor and a passion, right?
No, it would be fake.
Mm-hmm.
It would be fake. All right, we'll take a quick break. Still a couple things left to cover here before we get out of here on a Friday on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. Check. All right.
Totally normal that the microphone wouldn't work every segment.
12-2, North Carolina against Arizona. Game 1 of the Super Regional in Chapel Thrill. So if you're rooting for the Heels to get back and for that one guy to do that review of Omaha again, you're
With Jordan.
You're looking good so far. I mean, I suppose that is possible.
Mm-hmm.
They'll want him to be seen. This is where college football and basketball coaches come to get seen.
She wants to be seen.
She definitely wants to be seen. We know that. But does North Carolina want Bill to be seen? And does he accept? Get him on the PJ, send him to Omaha, and get him out. I'll never forget when I asked, I think it was Buzz Williams about it a couple years ago. I was like, how do you like Omaha? He's like, well, I've been to Omaha a couple times, but right now I don't really know. I just got off the jet like 40 minutes ago, and they brought me straight to this suite, and here I am after a couple cocktails.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. There goes back again. That's all right.
Jordan? Can we get Jordan?
We would effort that. But there's no doubt, Josh. Make no mistake. If I learned that she was in the ballpark, we would try.
I'm sorry. I meant Michael Jordan.
Oh, I thought you meant Jordan.
I understand. I said Jordan.
Yeah.
And that is when you think North Carolina and Jordan, you think Jordan Hudson.
For the record, we would also effort that.
My guess is he's gonna no thank you. Who are you? Get the hell away from me.
Okay.
Where is the nearest casino?
Black Cat writes in.
Hi, Black Cat.
If you need a filler honk topic, Kalkbrenner was at the Barstool office today for some reason. So I do have a question about this. Go ahead.
Honk, honk.
I do have a question about this. Why is Ryan Kalkbrenner in all these places? Why was he throwing out the first pitch at the Cubs game?
Getting ready for the NBA draft. What if the Bulls take him?
No, but like, did they just? How did he specifically get that invite? There's many people who are getting ready for the NBA draft.
Well, he's the one that will look the most awkward throwing a first pitch.
That can't be. I mean, maybe he was just the one Cubs fan. By the way, he's from St. Louis and he's a Cubs fan.
Interesting.
It is very interesting. But he got a very cool jersey. He threw out the first pitch at the Cubs game, and then he showed up at the Barstool. I mean, he's on the tour right now. Josh, pretty fascinating. I haven't seen any of the interview yet, but I'm sure Ryan Kalkbrenner said great things about Creighton.
Got a mock of him going to 29 overall to the Suns.
When is the NBA draft, by the way?
Ooh, good question.
Is it during or after the College World Series? It used to be during, back in my day.
I'm looking.
All right.
June 25th.
June 25th.
It's a Wednesday.
After the College. 2 days after the College World Series may end. Possibly 3. Speaking of the NBA, I do have another NBA topic for you when we talked about Game 1 plenty earlier. I do want to say, credit where credit is due here. Shout out to the NBA for coming in this year's postseason and saying, hey, I know we got really obsessed with these alternate brand identities and Wonko courts and Wonko uniforms, and the Pacers one where it looks like the butter has been spilled underneath the basket from the movie theater. But please, for the love of God, can we during the
It's totally normal.
Can we during the conference finals and the NBA finals wear normal jerseys? And that was a request from Adam Silver, the commissioner. And so it was to my great delight last night when I turned on the NBA finals game and the Oklahoma City Thunder were wearing their home white, normal, regular, totally normal uniforms, and the Pacers wore their gold, which I believe they declared that they were wearing the rest of the postseason for both home and away games.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah. According, so this is a couple weeks ago. This is a couple weeks ago before the conference finals. Obviously, they've been doing so many different things with the jerseys. over the last couple of years in the different courts. I cannot tell who's who. There has to be a value to having an identity as like
You sound like Trev.
Oh, I know, but like I'm not that strict on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying not to be that strict on it, but I understand that I have a little old man to me in this category. But like there has to be a value into me turning on the TV and knowing which teams are playing.
Yes.
This is not minor league baseball. Shout out to all the minor league baseball teams who do this. Did you see that the Lincoln Salt Dogs are going to become the Walt Dogs?
I did not know.
And the Omaha Storm Chasers are going to be the Runzas and all these different things. Like, that's fantastic. That's minor league baseball.
That's
beautiful.
Tomorrow's Runza Day at Warner Park.
This is not the NBA, and especially the NBA finals or conference finals. So I just wanted to give credit where credit was due. Thank you to the association for coming through and saying, okay, I get it. I know you guys are good. I know this is a thing that we do during the regular season, but no more. Not on our biggest stage. Good job by them.
I would like them to put that big Larry O'Brien trophy back on the court.
So that was my other thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What happened? Why don't they have the finals logo on the court?
I saw a tweet.
There was
yesterday.
more YouTube TV logos on the court.
They said the NBA with the jerseys and the lack of anything on the score bug and the court that designated this an NBA Finals game. They said this looks like a Friday night in January, which is fine, but this is the NBA Finals. Make it a big deal.
I will say there was something about it last night where it did feel like the presentation did not, and it didn't feel big for some reason. And I can't really put my finger on why.
It's like ABC, ESPN's kind of, their broadcast crew's kind of in flux right now. Like,
so remember what they did they introduced this a couple of years ago, and I specifically remember it with the Denver-Miami finals. They made the score bug like black and gold.
Yeah.
You know, they did that for the college football playoff too. Like when you get into the championship game, like everything kind of turns usually gold.
Right.
Right. There's a tint of gold to everything. But no, it just kind of felt regular and normal. Just put that finals logo on the court. That's all I ask.
Give me that Larry O'Brien trophy. Then you can play all the Lil Wayne you want.
I love the fact that they used the regular court to play the basketball game on top of.
They didn't do a weirdo court.
No, they didn't do a weirdo court. They didn't do weirdo uniforms. That's fantastic. But yeah, there was something that was a little bit missing from the. It didn't feel big. Maybe that's because we all assumed who was going to win that first game of the series.
And they were two small markets. So. And you said, I need bigger markets. I'm kind of Happer.
No, I didn't. You said that, Josh.
No,
you said, I need stars.
I believe you called it a coronation.
I need stars. Yeah, a coronation for Oklahoma City, who I appreciate what they've done. It didn't turn out that way in the first game. I still think they'll win the series for the record.
You do?
I do.
Interesting.
I'm going out on a limb here. I still think OKC will win the series.
Well,
and it wouldn't particularly surprise me if they won the next 4, but that's.
I need them to win the next 4.
Oh, Josh, talking about gambling all the time.
Just this time.
Josh McMaster will call you. One more thing, college baseball this weekend, of course. By the way, 13-2 North Carolina leading Arizona in the top of the 8th. Jake Knapp's day is done after throwing more than 100 pitches yet again.
Oh, his arm.
11 out of 15 starts. Jake Knapp has thrown 100-plus pitches in this year.
Won't somebody think of his arm?
He's a hoss. He'll be okay. And there's really no reason. I mean, there's no reason to hold him, and there's no reason to really keep him out there either, considering he's only going to pitch once in the series, and they're now up by 11. So that game's going on. I believe the Louisville-Miami game is already in a delay.
That is correct.
Great. We get some lightning. We get a situation down there. But on college baseball, Kendall Rogers tweeted this out last night. So Brian O'Connor's contract details came out at Mississippi State. So you tell me if this feels like the SEC might be playing a different ball game.
Okay.
All right. So Brian O'Connor is now the second highest paid coach in the SEC. $2.9 million a year to be the baseball coach. Baseball, Josh.
Interesting.
Tony Vitello makes $3 million. Tim Corbin makes almost and a half. Jim Schlossnagel, 2.2. Kevin O'Sullivan, just under 2. Jay Johnson, about $1.8 million. Dave Van Horn's making $1.5 million. I believe Kendall said the highest paid non-SEC coach is Eric Bakich at Clemson, who they stole from Michigan, and is about at $1.5 million as well.
Oh.
I don't think there are any $1 million coaches in the Big Ten conference. I don't believe that is the case.
Okay.
So, and then you look at their facilities, and then you think about all the coaches who have had success at the Northern Big Ten schools, like specifically Bakich or Tracy Smith or whoever it might be, who goes and takes a SEC job if they can get their hands on it, an ACC job if they can get their hands on it, or hell, even back in the day, like an Arizona State, a Big 12, Pac-12 job if they can get their hands on it as well. That's when you're a mid-major feeder conference. And like I said, there's nothing that anybody could do about that in the Big Ten. But I just want it, it's illustrated, right? It's right out there in front of everybody, and you guys should be able to see it. But it's right out there in front of everybody. You're not investing that much into your baseball programs, and it is dog eat dog. It is like football in the SEC for baseball. Luckily, you only have your own, the people around you to sort of deal with. But as in football, where it's everybody from all corners of the country. But yeah, they're competing at a different level. That's for sure. Oh, there goes my mic again. We're out of time.
Could we take some money out of Fred Hoiberg's $1 trillion bonus and
that's
hire
right.
a baseball coach?
Well, that's only if he wins the national championship.
It's true.
Yes, we could. I'm sure he'd be happy to give a couple $1 million to the baseball program.
It would help.
It would.
Be a real team player.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back, get to the polls. We'll tell you what to watch coming up on a Friday at 16:20 The Zone. From before, another Nebraska baseballer into the portal.
What? Why does this keep happening?
Senior outfielder Riley Silva.
Senior?
But Riley Silva, like many on Nebraska's baseball team this year, played at a junior college. So he can Diego Pavia himself to somewhere else.
Do whatever he wants.
That's right. He's free wherever he'd like to go. 14-2 North Carolina, by the way. Yes, Riley Silva is the latest Husker into the portal.
I don't like this.
Well, so some people, and we talked about it with Brunts yesterday, some people are saying like, oh, well, they needed to cut numbers. Like, yes, of course they needed to cut numbers, but they didn't need to get rid of 4 guys in their starting lineup. You know? It's not like they're telling those guys to leave.
They've lost 10 players or more.
Right, but so like the number doesn't really bother me. It's like the 4 guys out of the starting lineup that you've lost.
Yeah.
Like that's significant. Like maybe they want to go in a different direction, but I don't think you asked them to leave. Maybe you asked 4 or 5 or 6 other guys who didn't play this year, hey, we're out of room and you got to find a new home. Like maybe that was the case with them. So like, I don't know. I wouldn't be as quick to just excuse it away of like, oh my God, they're just short on numbers, so they had to get rid of these guys. No, I don't think they wanted to lose some of them. I think they like a lot of those guys.
Something's
or maybe
going
not
on over there.
Or maybe not. Let's go to the polls. How about we do that?
Let's. A couple from the crossover.
Is there a poll question?
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
Okay, thank God. Is Cafe Bustelo the white monster of the coffee world? I got to be honest with you. When I saw somebody say white monster for the first time, I thought something different.
Yeah. That's the fun.
Okay. Sure. I'll agree with this. I still don't know what the white monster does that's different than any of the other monsters.
It's very popular. Is the white monster?
54% say no.
Okay.
And also, do you love to hobnob?
I don't really.
I do. I love just standing around and talking to people, just having a minute and just being like, "What's going on?"
I envy that about you.
What do you know? What do you think? Do a lot of Josh, you're gonna be hobnobbing in the College World Series.
I know, and I really have to prepare myself mentally for it.
Really, to hobnob?
Yeah.
You have great things to show off, Josh.
I do.
Tell them about how cool you are.
This is my cooler. It has many drinks in it. Would you like a drink?
Would you like a drink?
Would you like a cool beverage?
They gave me this cooler. Do you love to hobnob? 51% say no. Very close. Very close at the moment. Those are the polls, Josh. What are we watching tonight?
Tonight, a television note. It is the first Friday night since New Year's Eve 2021 that Fox has not had a sporting event or WWE on their network.
Well, that's a great nugget.
Thank you.
Did you come up with that?
I really forced it in. No, I stole it from one of those sports media accounts. Yeah. Hockey tonight, TNT, Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals. The Oilers host the Panthers. Edmonton with a 1-0 lead. And Connor, I know you're not the most into hockey, so there's an alternate telecast you can watch on True TV. It is the 2025 Stanley Pup. Anthony Anderson,
Holy God.
George Lopez, Jamie Lee Curtis, Nikki Glaser, and more appear.
Why is Nikki Glaser on everything?
Because she's moderately attractive.
Really?
That's what people say. They appear during this hockey competition featuring adoptable rescue pups.
It is now 17-2.
Ooh.
By the way, not going very well.
Have mercy.
Yeah, they need a Cassopolis big time over there.
Jesse and the Rippers up there. 7:00 Sunday, Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Pacers, Thunder on ABC. Pacers have that 1-0 lead. Baseball this weekend, the Bigs, Diamondbacks, Reds tonight on Apple. Cubs, Tigers, also at 6:00 tonight on Apple. Padres and Brewers, your Roku game of the week Sunday morning. And Yanks host the Sox. So it's on Big Fox tomorrow at 6 and Sunday on ESPN. Super Regionals, UNC is dog walking Arizona. What was it?
17-2. Almost as bad as I won't say it.
Louisville hosts Miami at some point today on ESPN2. Florida State, Oregon State, 5 o'clock on ESPN2. And that'll be followed at 8 o'clock by Coastal and Auburn.
Well, it'll be curious to see which game gets ESPN2 when the Miami-Louisville game doesn't start at 2.
That's right. Good point by you. All 8 series, all 8 super regionals on linear television this weekend. You do not need ESPN Plus anymore, Dad.
We'll see.
Well,
we'll see.
He would allow Miami and Louisville to pass his eyes without watching. Softball tonight. My dad will be watching this. He loves the softball. Texas Tech and Texas, 7 o'clock tonight on ESPN. Winner take all for the national championship. French Open finals. The women tomorrow, number 2 in the world, Coco Gauff, looks for her second major title at 8 a.m. on TNT. The men go Sunday at that same time, same network. Carlos Alcaraz takes on maybe the Joker. He is losing right now in the second set. U.S. Open this weekend?
Are you a French Open guy?
No, not really. I just know it's a major, so I kind of wanted to include it.
I kind of like it.
Yeah,
I kind of like it. I like that's the one on the clay, right?
Yeah.
This is Nadal's former major.
Correct.
Yeah.
U.S. Open at Oakmont all weekend long. That's this weekend?
No,
right?
no.
That's next weekend?
No, I don't think that's this week.
Okay. I didn't
would have
hear
heard more about that.
Yeah. Okay. That's kind of what I was thinking. Maybe it's next week. I'm sorry. Nebraska
Next
Day.
weekend.
Nebraska Day on BTN tomorrow. Tune in for classic Husker games like the Big Ten Championship baseball tournament.
Happened 5 days ago. Okay.
The Crown Championship game.
Oh no.
It's Nebraska Day on BTN tomorrow. Connor, I know you're gonna love this new Predator movie on Hulu. Predator, Killer of Killers. The animated film follows 3 of the fiercest warriors in human history who find that they are merely prey for their new opponent, presumably a predator. And Sunday night on CBS, the Tony Awards, Connor.
Whoa!
Which would you rather watch?
I would watch the Tonys.
Okay.
What's going on?
Cynthia Erivo hosts the award show. She's from Wicked.
I love acting.
There you go. It honors the best in theater.
Theatrical way.
Buena Vista Social Club, Death Becomes Her, and Maybe Happy Ending each come in with 10 nominations. The original cast of Hamilton will reunite for a live performance.
Wow. Exciting.
Yeah.
I love the Tonys.
The Tonys.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
So we're watching. That's the show. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Have a good weekend, everybody. The crossover is next.